at the Kirkwood Walmart. Coming up, I'll tell you why prosecutors say there are more victims out there.
I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Tom Ackerman.
Sam Page uses weather terms to make a budgetary point.
St. Louis County is under a budget thunderstorm watch.
And the county council responds with their own meteorology analogy. I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Cloudy skies today with rain at times and a thunderstorm or two, the high near 60.
It's 6 o'clock.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by JTV.com.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Chaos on the ground as the U.S. and Israel hit targets on day 5 of the Iran war. Warning sirens in Jerusalem after the IDF reported Israeli forces had taken out a manned Iranian fighter jet for the first time. The BBC's Yolande Knell is in Jerusalem.
The Israelis are talking about a broad range of strikes and say that among the latest, they hit the internal security headquarters in Tehran. And Israel is meanwhile simultaneously, of course, attacking the Lebanese armed group Hezbollah in Lebanon.
The Pentagon says the U.S. has hit hundreds of Iranian targets, including air defenses and Navy ships. CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper.
We are seeing Iran's ability to hit us and our partners is declining, while our combat power, on the other hand, is building. And my overall operational assessment is that we are ahead of our game plan.
Iran striking back with drone attacks in the region. Loved ones are remembering 6 American service members killed in an Iranian strike in Kuwait. The Pentagon has identified 4 so far, among them 20-year-old Sergeant Declan Cody of Iowa, his sister Kira.
I still don't fully think it's real. I just remember all of our conversations about what he was going to do when he came back.
All 4 were assigned to a command in Des Moines. An Iranian government agency is just reporting more than 1,000 people have been killed in the war there so far. State TV says a funeral scheduled today for the Ayatollah Khamenei has been postponed. The New York Times is reporting his 56-year-old son has emerged as the leading choice to be his successor. Now to the primary in Texas, where a longtime senator is facing a runoff.
CBS News projects neither incumbent John Cornyn nor State Attorney General Ken Paxton will get the 50% of the vote needed to avoid a May 26th runoff. President Trump has yet to endorse either one of them. In the Democratic Senate primary, CBS News projects Congressman James Tallarico will defeat Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett.
Tonight, the people of our state gave this country a little bit of hope, and a little bit of hope is a dangerous thing.
Democrats have not won a statewide race in Texas since 1994. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Who's to say one person's music is everyone's? There's a new rule for flyers. CBS's Jesse Mitchell.
United is about to become the first airline to punish passengers who play audio from their electronic devices out loud. A new update to its contract for ticket holders officially requires the use of headphones to hear music or movies. Violators could face a lifetime ban.
Dow futures up 35. This is CBS News.
Looking for spring jewelry looks? Find them at Jewelry Television. New customers get $20 off purchases of $99 or more at JTV.com.
It is 6:03. We've got cloudy skies, and right now it's 48 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. A 33-year-old man from St. Louis, Esmond Pasek, has been arrested and charged with enticing a minor and sexual abuse against a 7-year-old in the Kirkwood Walmart Sunday. St. Louis County Prosecuting Attorney Melissa Price-Smith details the allegations caught on security cameras.
He approached a 7-year-old child while stroking his genitals under his clothing. He then rubbed his covered genitals on the 7-year-old's shoulder and asked her if she wanted to touch it.
Price-Smith says the man is also seen doing the same to 3 other children in the Walmart that day, but no other victims have come forward. She's asking parents who shopped at the Kirkwood Walmart with their children Sunday to speak with them.
Talk to your children about the shopping experience and if there was anything unusual that happened.
Pasek is being held on a $250,000 bond.
The major case squad of Greater St. Louis has been activated in Carlisle, Illinois, following the discovery of a woman's body. Carlisle police responding to a welfare check yesterday morning at a home on Fairfax Street about 8:10 found a 41-year-old woman dead inside. 26 investigators are now working that case. And if you have any information, you're asked to call the Major Case Squad Command Post or Crime Stoppers.
A suspected gas leak led to a home explosion in Jefferson County. Spire says a contractor doing excavating work for another utility hit a natural gas line. Spire contacted the fire department, which evacuated the area. Michelle Reeker lives in nearby Imperial and tells Fox 2.
Well, I was sitting in my chair and I heard a big loud boom. And I thought something had ran into maybe mailboxes or a house or something. I went outside and all I saw was a bunch of puffs of big white smoke. Went across the street and the house was on fire.
5 people who lived in the home that exploded had gotten notice to evacuate. They were not inside at the time. The state fire marshal is conducting the investigation.
The president of St. Louis's state-controlled police board says he does want to work collaboratively with Mayor Kara Spencer to resolve a growing budget standoff. Chris Saraceno said after meeting with the mayor yesterday, the board is committed to, quote, finding a responsible path forward.
The dispute centers on the board's proposed fiscal year 2027 police budget of more than $250 million, a figure Spencer says would, quote, cripple city government and trigger layoffs in departments from street to refuse. At issue is also how to calculate the percentage of general revenue the state is required by state law to dedicate to the department. The general revenue the city is required by state law to dedicate to the department. That dispute has not been resolved.
St. Louis County Executive Sam Page continues to push an online sales tax as the way out of the county's budget crisis.
Page is again calling on the county council to adopt what's technically called a use tax. He says dozens of other local governments across Missouri have already done the same thing, and he says St. Louis County has been leaving significant money on the table.
This would help us eliminate our budget deficit, keep us from reducing services, and even have some resources for some long-term long-term improvements, some capital improvements in St. Louis County. We could talk about demolition of problem properties. We could talk about flooding and erosion control in South County.
Page warns that without a change, significant service reductions are coming before the end of the year. The county council says it's open to considering a use tax down the road, but members in a statement say voters are unlikely to support new taxes until the county demonstrates, quote, tangible administrative improvement and fiscal discipline, end quote. The council is also preparing formal criteria for future use of the NFL Rams settlement funds, working off of recommendations from the state auditor. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Missouri's tornado statewide drill is today. KMOX meteorologist Dave Murray has more.
This is a test of all the outside warning systems, and the test is going to happen around 11 o'clock in the morning. And this is the time to really think about what you would do if a real tornado warning were to be issued, whether you're at home, school, work, or even on the road. It's important to know ahead of time, not as the event starts to unfold.
You'll hear the tornado sirens at about 11 a.m., although Dave says there is an element of surprise on the exact timing.
From the KMOX business desk, Americans are more worried about affordability than about taxes. That's according to the 2026 Wallet Hub Taxpayer Survey that showed 78% are more worried about their ability to afford things right now than they are about their taxes. That said, 66% of Americans think their current tax rate is too high. 95% believe filing taxes should be free.
It's 6:08, traffic and weather next.
You can feel the Clydesdales circling the field. Hear the stands come alive. Smell the hot dogs, the popcorn, and cold beer in the air. See the crowd rise as the first pitch hits the glove. And just like that, a new season begins. The countdown is on until opening day, and tickets start at just $49. Don't miss St. Louis's favorite holiday. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/opening day.
Cardinals single game tickets are now on sale for the 2026 season. The schedule delivers big-time matchups, including weekend series against the Cubs and Dodgers and visits from the Boston Red Sox. Add in a promotions calendar stacked with fan favorites like all new giveaways, a Hawaiian short and shirt set, golf-inspired hat, dark mode jersey, and a whole lot more. It's Busch Stadium at its best all season long. Lock in your seats today at cardinals.com.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a warehouse operations manager.
Where are the forklifts?
Sold them. Too expensive. We're using scooters now.
So you expect us to move a 2-ton pallet on a scooter?
Just lean into it. Put your back into it, people.
This is your job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I own a coffee shop, and I wanted to label everything with our logo.
That's ambitious.
Cups, boxes, bags.
Ooh, that'll add up.
Not at all, because right now, Staples prints custom labels for 30% off.
30% off? That's shockingly affordable branding.
Yep, now our logo and URL are seen all over town.
Brand your business for less at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in store, online, or in the app by 442 Unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
All right, it's 6:10. What does your ride in have in store for you? Fingers crossed that it's smooth sailing. Roger Brand is checking it out from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is pretty much for everybody, Debbie. There's just one incident I'm looking at right now that happened since we last spoke, and it's a crash south 170 at Page. It's actually on the on-ramp from Page to southbound 170. A car spun out and knocked the guardrail, so the ramp is shut down temporarily while they remove this vehicle. So the ramp from Page to south 170 is temporarily closed. But I also see flashing lights maybe an eighth of a mile down the hill there around the bend. I believe that incident's on the shoulder, so it looks like two different situations. None of them are blocking the through lanes of South 170, so that's a good news. Traffic still light enough, but again, that ramp from Page to South 170 is currently closed at this time until they can remove that single car accident. Otherwise, the rest of the interstates are looking great as they have so far this morning. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Cloudy today with rain at times, even a thunderstorm or two, high 60. There'll be some showers and heavy thunderstorms moving through tonight. Any thunderstorm can produce flooding, downpours, and hail, damaging wind gusts, perhaps a tornado. The low tonight, 51. A shower or thunderstorm early tomorrow, otherwise mostly cloudy and very mild, the high 69. Friday could start with a shower or thunderstorm, otherwise becoming partly sunny, breezy, and warm, the high 81. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Currently, we have clouds, 48 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It is now 6:12 and the news continues. Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt saying decades of unfocused foreign policy helped get the U.S. into a major military campaign against Iran. At a Senate Armed Services Committee hearing yesterday, he argued that after the Cold War ended, Washington never adjusted, bouncing military interventions with no clear strategy while letting Europe skate on defense spending.
Schmidt asked Undersecretary of Defense Elbridge Colby whether a hard-nosed approach 30 years ago might have changed things.
Wouldn't we be better off as a country if in 1993 we would have had something like this?
I think so. Yeah. I think we got a bit hubristic, well, very hubristic in some cases. And frankly, that, this is not saying it's only Democrats. We're pointing at ourselves as well.
The Trump administration's 2026 National Defense Strategy calls for a dramatic rebalancing of the NATO alliance, expecting European nations to take the lead on their own continental defense as the U.S. shifts its focus toward China.
A historian and attorney says we are in uncharted waters when it comes to who will ultimately rise to power in Iran.
We are as close as we have ever been to regime change in Iran since the Islamic Revolution of 1979.
Isaac Amon is a lecturer in law at Washington University and St. Louis School of Law. He says even without a supreme leader, the current regime in Iran may turn to brutal means to retain a grasp on power.
President Trump said recently something like 50 members of the top echelon have been killed. There's complete chaos and disarray, as far as I understand, on the ground. And there is, of course, a yearning from vast parts of the Iranian population to rise up and overthrow it.
Amon cautions U.S. citizens in the Middle East and on American soil could be targets for retaliation. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Amazon says 3 of its huge data centers in the Middle East were attacked by Iranian drones and missiles Tuesday, knocking out some cloud services, but it likely won't cause any issues here. Some shopping and banking apps overseas were affected, and Amazon says if you shipped something from the Middle East, expect it to take a while longer to get to you. 6:14. Let's dive right into it. KMOX's Matt Pauley back in business in Jupiter, Florida.
Today is another spring training milestone day for the Cardinals as Matthew Liberatore becomes the first Cardinal starting pitcher to make a third start. In his last appearance, he throws 3 innings and 51 pitches, so he's likely to progress to 4 innings and perhaps as many as 60 to 70 pitches, getting him one more start away from having enough length to start a regular season game. Innings are starting to become scarce for pitchers as starters are going deeper into games, and Dustin May is being inserted into the Grapefruit League rotation. After doing work in live BP and simulated game settings on the backfields, May will make his first game appearance of spring tomorrow against the Pirates in Bradenton. At that point, Liberatore, May, Michael McGreevy, Kyle Leahy, Andre Palante, and Richard Fitz will all need to be on a starter schedule, getting innings through the duration of spring. Hunter Dobbins could also enter the mix later in camp as he continues to recover from an ACL tear. In Jupiter, Florida at Cardinal Spring Training, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Absolutely, it'll be it'll be an emotional night, I think, for everybody. Obviously, Robbie.
That is Josh Schertz, head coach of the St. Louis Billikens. Robbie Avila and Schertz go way back to the Indiana State days. Actually, before that, when he was playing high school basketball and Schertz recruited him, Avila turned to Schertz, made a phone call, and said, let's do it. And the two of them ended up having a wonderful career together. SLU is 26-3, 25th ranked team in the country. They host Loyola tonight, and after the game, the seniors and grad students will be honored.
4 years together, and the last 2 years here. I think last night, that was his 100th win in college. Over the last 4 years. He's changed the trajectory of 2 different programs. When you look at what he did in Terre Haute at Indiana State, and then coming here to St. Louis, the places that haven't had, such a great history tradition. I think, Indiana State won the regular season. That was the 3rd time in 50 some years. If we're fortunate to do it here, it'll be the 3rd time. His greatness is in a lot of areas, his skill level, but it's in his team orientation. It's how he makes his teammates better. It's how team success matters to him, and I think hopefully the send-off's great. If we win the league, I would assume he'll be the player of the year in the Atlantic 10, and deservedly so. What he's meant to this team and the way he's led this team. And
SLU can win the league with a win tonight against the Ramblers. Last night, VCU beat George Mason, so that technically keeps it alive for VCU, although SLU does own the tiebreaker with them, having swept them this season. The Billikens and Loyola tonight, 7 o'clock. It's sold out at Chaffetz Arena. We'll have the pregame for you on KMOX at 6:45. SIUE plays in the OVC tournament tonight. They take on Eastern Illinois at 6 o'clock. Lindenwood after that against Arkansas Little Rock. They tip off at 8:30. The Ohio Valley Conference tournament is taking place in Evansville. Tomorrow, the Missouri Valley Conference tournament starts at Enterprise Center in St. Louis. Mizzou lost last night at Oklahoma, 80-64, and number 11 Illinois pounded Oregon in Champaign, 80-54. Miami of Ohio stayed unbeaten. The Redhawks are 30-0, only undefeated team in America. The 19th ranked Miami team beat Toledo in a tight one, 74-72. Blues play tonight at Seattle, 9 o'clock face-off for them. The trade deadline is Friday at 2 o'clock. We'll analyze that coming up at 6:45. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals and Billikens, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hey, Cardinal Cowboy here. Who would have thought a car crash would have led to charities, TV shows, and cheering with the best fans in the world? I'm thankful for every day. And so are my friends at Renner Garage Door. They've been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. With help from trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, honest family-style service you can count on. So giddy up and get your free repair or replacement quote today. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs, attorneys, and for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertising.
This is an important message for anyone struggling with $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or personal loans. Due to ongoing inflation, job loss, and the rising cost of living, many Americans are facing overwhelming credit card balances. If you're drowning in credit card debt, you may qualify for powerful debt relief options currently being offered by National Debt Relief that can significantly reduce what you owe. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a debt consolidation loan. You could qualify for this debt relief option and only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe. Act now to see if you qualify. With thousands of 5-star reviews online and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, National Debt Relief has helped over 1 million consumers with their debt that qualified for this relief option. So don't wait. Call the Debt Reduction Hotline now. Dial 800-428-5757. 800-428-5757. That's 800-428-5757.
Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
It's 6:20 and time for traffic and weather. Let's check in with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, since we last spoke, they cleared that crash at the end of the ramp from Page onto South 170, so that ramp is reopened. But it looks like now, I mentioned flashing lights down the hill, more flashing lights there, so that looks like a secondary incident. It looks like they do have the right lane block there. So the right lane block, South 170 on the Woodson overpass there, just about midway between Page and Olive. So it is slow coming down past Page to that, midway down to Olive, and then it opens up. But there's more volume on some of the other runs, like northbound 55, the right lanes are bogged down. South of Butler Hill to 270, just a little slow. Weber Road to River to Pear, north 270 from 55 all the way up to Ladue. That's looking okay. Out west, southbound 61 is a little slow south of Winslow Parkway. Eastbound 70, seeing a little slowdown, 370 in toward Cave Springs. Downtown, we look great on the Illinois interstates, but it looks like we have a train crossing Route 3 at Monsanto. Northbound Route 3 is backed up to about Judith. Southbound Route 3 is jammed back past 8th Street currently. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Roger, we are going to get some rain today. Cloudy with occasional rain and a thunderstorm or two, and a thunderstorm tonight as well. Heavy thunderstorms, in fact, says Joe Lundberg. A high of 60 degrees today and a low tonight of 51. Tomorrow, a stray morning thunderstorm, and then we get mostly cloudy and balmy temperatures, a high of 69. Friday, a thunderstorm in spots to start, and then unseasonably warm. We're going to get a high Friday of 81. Saturday's high 64, falling into the 50s, and then sunny and warm Sunday with a high of 70. Currently, it's cloudy, 47 in Florissant, 47 in St. Peter's, 48 degrees downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 6:22. Granite City Space for Disabled Veterans is closing its doors and seeking a new home. The Quad Cities Disabled American Veterans Club, Chapter 53, announcing that they will be closing their doors at the end of the month.
This is Commander Brian Hodebeck talking to Fox 2, saying the chapter has maintained the space for almost 3 decades.
We get calls pretty much every day asking for resources. If people need help with the rent or power utility bills, our main goal is to help veterans get the benefits that they have earned.
Hodebeck says the chapter is committed to finding a space for their 200 members.
Attorneys representing the St. Louis Archdiocese are arguing for the dismissal of parts of a sexual abuse lawsuit, saying they cannot be sued for sexual assault because they are an organization and the suit doesn't name an individual. Attorney Dan Rhodes represents the victims.
People need to know that the issue of repressed memory is serious. It's not a it's not a joke. People are really damaged very badly to where their memory is repressed.
The Archdiocese is also arguing Missouri law protects them from punitive damages. The judge took the arguments under consideration.
Senator Josh Hawley is renewing his push to strip social media companies of legal protections he says have blocked victims of child exploitation from ever getting into court. Hawley made the argument Tuesday at a Senate subcommittee hearing, saying the reason Congress hasn't acted comes down to money.
No victim in here today, not a one of you, can get into court against these social media companies. That is just wrong. And I'll tell you why it is. It's because the amount of money that flows to this body from those companies keeps the courtroom door shut for you. We need to open it up And we need to say that you're more important than any amount of money.
Senator Hawley chairs the subcommittee on crime and counterterrorism.
A St. Louis arts funding organization is under state scrutiny. Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick says his office is opening a performance audit of the Regional Arts Commission after a whistleblower complaint about how the agency spends taxpayer money.
Investigators found potential issues, including improper bonuses, questionable credit card charges, and inconsistencies in how grants are awarded. State law requires the commission to spend no more than 15% of its revenue on administrative costs.
St. Louis is falling behind the nation in the category directly tied to population and affordability.
Newly released census data shows St. Louis fell to 58th in the nation in new housing permits issued in 2025, a drop from its usual rank in the mid to low 40s each of the 6 years prior. St. Louis University professor of sociology Ness Sandoval says if the region wants to see a reverse in the population decline and young families move into the area, there needs to be a surplus of housing.
Regions that are building this housing, Austin, Dallas, and Texas, they're the ones that are getting young families, young adults moving there. Because there is this option of attaining the American dream.
Sandoval says the region's resistance to developing new housing needs to change to reverse this housing trend, but even then, it will take several years to turn around. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Americans are more worried about affordability than taxes. That's according to the 2026 Wallet Hub Taxpayer Survey that says 78% are more worried about their ability to afford things right now than they are about taxes. That said, 66% of Americans think their current tax rate is too high. 95% believe filing taxes should be free.
When the federal government abandons science, Missouri communities pay the price. That's according to Natalie Johnson at Great Rivers Environmental Law Center. They are Missouri's only nonprofit public interest environmental law firm, and they're filing a federal lawsuit against the Trump administration over climate change.
Johnson says the law is clear and court decisions have reinforced that once the EPA determines greenhouse gas pollution endangers public health and welfare, the Clean Air Act authorizes the agency to regulate it. The Trump administration repealed the EPA's 2009 endangerment finding, for which the scientific evidence has only grown stronger since 2009, she says. Johnson says Missouri is already experiencing real-world impacts of climate change, from extreme heat to stronger storms to flooding in neighborhoods that were never built to withstand it.
Gas prices already climbing this time of year, regardless of what happens in the Middle East. The annual switch over to summer blend gas, a cleaner burning but more expensive formulation, is already rolling out in some markets and will reach most of the country within 2 to 3 weeks.
That is going to increase the price from that plus 10 to 30 cents on top of what has taken place in the Middle East at this point in time.
That is Matt McLean with Gas Buddy, who says the good news is North American production keeps the gas flowing.
627 on Total Information AM. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
The Missouri Athletic Club has a mission, and its mission is to create extraordinary experiences in all aspects of club life. The spirit of excellence, service, and tradition. Let's talk about those three things. Excellence, quiet precision. That's how they define the experience. Each clubhouse is maintained to a meticulous standard. Craft, fitness, culinary programs, wellness offerings, thoughtfully curated events are executed with the composure expected of a distinguished membership club. The hospitality is personal. That's the service part of it. Names are remembered. Preferences are noted. Requests are anticipated before they are spoken. It actually is amazing. I go in there to have breakfast sometimes downtown, and they say exactly my order. They remember the last time I was in there. It's unbelievable. Since 1903, the Missouri Athletic Club has endured through strength of its members, and generations of families have celebrated milestones there, great friendships there. There are new traditions that are welcomed within the clubhouse. It's a wonderful place. Downtown, MAC West, and soon to open the MAC Clayton. If you want to learn more about the Missouri Athletic Club and all of its events and memberships and guests, everybody is welcome to jump on at mac-stl.org.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here, And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
The 46th Builders St. Louis Home and Garden Show returns to America's Center March 6th through 8th.
Bring the whole family to watch the adrenaline-pumping off-axis stunt show and the canines in the clouds frisbee dogs.
Details at stlhomeshow.com.
It is 6:30, and it's time for us to tell you that it's cloudy, 47 degrees right now in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, I suppose we had two separate incidents on southbound 170 south of Page. One was actually on the on-ramp from Page to south 170. The ramp was closed. They cleared it and reopened the ramp, but now they still have the right lane blocked for the secondary incident. I don't think it's related because it's midway down the hill toward Olive, but that right lane is shut down, so you're backed up from just south of Page most of the way down to Olive right now on southbound 170. We've got a little more volume on the highways, but all in all, it still doesn't look all that bad. Northbound 55, north of Butler Hill to 270, the right lanes are slow. We do have a backup approaching Bayless up through Weber, then it's slow from there up to Holly Hills. Northbound 270, just some slow traffic up the hill from Dory Ferry to Manchester. Southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway down to 64, slow. Eastbound 70, the Spencer Road overpass to 370 is a little busy. After that, you're okay. On the Illinois side, still all right, but we have Route 3 at Monsanto, still have an issue there. Northbound Route 3 is a solid jam back to Judith, and southbound Route 3 is backed up south of 8th Street because of looks like a train crossing there. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather-wise, it's going to just be kind of cloudy and rainy until further notice. Today, rain and a thunderstorm or two, a high of 60. We could see some showers and heavy thunderstorms tonight. We're talking about flooding, downpours, hail, damaging wind gusts, maybe an isolated tornado. Overnight low of 51, and then we'll still see a stray thunderstorm in the morning tomorrow, but turning out mostly cloudy with a high of 69. Right now, it's 48 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
A St. Louis man is in jail after allegedly sexually abusing a child in a Walmart. Prosecutors say there are more victims.
33-year-old Esmond Pasick is accused of groping himself underneath his clothes in front of a 7-year-old child at the Kirkwood Walmart Sunday afternoon. He's then alleged to have walked up to the child, rubbing his genitals on them through his clothes, and asking if they want to touch before the child ran away to their parents. According to St. Louis County prosecuting attorney Melissa Price-Smith, Pasick is seen on surveillance footage doing this to at least 3 other children, but no victims have yet to come forward.
It was very similar of him grabbing himself under his clothing and approaching these children and rubbing up against them.
Pasick was also seen going into the Kirkwood Target. However, law enforcement only has footage from the Walmart. They're charging him with 1 count of enticement of a child and 1 count of sexual abuse in the first degree. He's being held on a $250,000 bond. Outside the Buzz Westfall Justice Center in St. Louis County, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
A woman is dead in Carlisle, Illinois, and the major case squad of Greater St. Louis is on the case. Carlisle police found a 41-year-old woman during a welfare check at a home on Fairfax Street yesterday morning. And if you know anything, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers.
Nobody was hurt when a home exploded in Jefferson County yesterday between Arnold and Imperial on Whitehaven Court. Spire says the blast happened because of a natural gas leak, which occurred because of crews working for another utility. Spire contacted the fire department, which evacuated the area. 5 people in the home had left and were not inside.
The news is sponsored for you by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Coming up, we've got your Money Minute from Bloomberg. Stay with us. It's 6:33.
Rock icon Sting brings his Sting 3.0 tour to Stiefel Theater Saturday, October 17th. Fronting his power trio, Sting performs the most electrifying songs from his timeless discography. Presented by the Cherry Tree Music Company and Live Nation. Tickets to the Sting 3.0 tour go on sale Friday, 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Don't miss Sting 3.0 live.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
635, your business report sponsored by Eamon Ganner and Capriano, Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. The Iran conflict has destabilized the Middle East with no clear sense of when or how the war will end. Markets are focused on oil as traders weigh President Trump's plan to ensure and escort tankers passing through the Strait of Hormuz. Stock futures are steadying this morning after the S&P 500 dropped nearly 1% in yesterday's trading session. S&P futures are up 15 points, Dow futures rising 55. Meantime, airlines around the globe are suspending more flights to additional destinations across the Middle East. According to Flight Radar 24, around 15,000 flights have been canceled. And Starbucks is opening a new corporate office in Nashville to support its plans for growth. The coffee chain says it sees an opportunity to add 5,000 locations across the Midwest, South, and Northeast. They're also hoping the new location will support more daily deliveries to its stores. Starbucks expects the Nashville location will open later this year. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
It is time for you to think about your outdoor space because let's be honest, you've got spring fever. I have it as well. And just imagine on a rainy day when it's going to be, let me look at the forecast here. Let's say tomorrow when it's 70 degrees with a stray morning thunderstorm. If you had a beautiful screen porch or sunroom, you could still be enjoying the beautiful outdoors and drinking your cup of coffee. If that sounds good to you, call Chesterfield Fence and Deck because it's the sign you have the very best. And what that means is it's the best value. It's not going to be your cheapest bid, but it's going to be the biggest value because everything that Chesterfield Fence and Deck builds is quality that lasts. So that is a very important thing to me for sure. I have a Chesterfield fence from Chesterfield Fence and Deck that is over a dozen years old and it still looks amazing because of the quality of the work. So give them a call. They'll come to you for free project design, free in-home estimates, or you can visit their beautiful showroom in the Chesterfield Valley and get yourself some great ideas for what you want to do with your outdoor space. Mention me, Debbie Monterrey. Get 48 months interest-free financing. ChesterfieldFence.com.
Larry Elder here. Let me share Brian's story from Alabama, my mom's home state. He tells us after taking Relief Factor for just 3 weeks, at least 90% of my pain is gone. My pain had started to limit me at work and at home, and now I'm amazed at how much relief I've gotten, end of quote. These are Brian's own words, and they speak volumes about what Relief Factor can do for you. I've told you about my buddy Tom, an avid golfer out on the green almost every single day. He says without Relief Factor, he wouldn't be able to swing freely because of shoulder pain or back pain. But since taking it, he said he stayed active, comfortable, and confident in his swing. He is a scratch golfer. That's why I encourage you to try Relief Factor yourself and see what it can do for you. Don't wait. If you're dealing with daily pain, launch your 3-week quick start and see what Relief Factor can do for you. 800-4-RELIEF, 800, the number 4 relief, or go to relieffactor.com. That's relieffactor.com. How will it feel to be out of pain? 800 for relief, relieffactor.com.
Looking for your dream home in Wentzville? Welcome to Sutton Farms by Lombardo Homes, where community and comfort come together. Enjoy resort-style living with a private clubhouse, indoor courts, a splash pad, sand volleyball, walking trails, and even a dog park. Design your own custom home in our Parkside, Nature, or Tradition series, all within the top-rated Wentzville School District. Discover the perfect blend of small-town charm and modern convenience at Sutton Farms, located off Piney Road in Wentzville. Visit lombardohomes.com to learn more.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Tax season is here, and Missouri families are already seeing the real impact of the Working Families Tax Cut Act. House Republicans are delivering real results for hardworking Missourians. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, the bill is projected to raise wages in Missouri by about $3,000 to $6,000 over the next 4 years. That's more money for groceries, gas, and greater security for your family's future. In Congress, I'm working to protect working families, strengthen our economy, and ensure you are keeping more of your hard-earned money.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
It's men's Billikens basketball action tonight as they take to the court against Loyola. Pregame 6:45, tip at 7 on your home for Billikens basketball, KMOX.
Yeah, there'll be some traffic rolling into Chaffetz Arena tonight. As for right now, let's check in with Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it looks good around Chaffetz Arena and anywhere else. Pretty much on 64 time right now. We're in good shape. There is a little slowdown southbound 61 south of Wentzville Parkway down to 64, and a report of a stall near Wentzville Parkway. I can't see it right now, but that just looks normally heavy through that area so far. If you're on northbound 270, let's call it north of 44 all the way to Manchester, just sort of bogged down through there. It's a little busy passing 64 after that. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, that's looking good. There's just a little slowdown right around 5th Street so far. Northbound 55, those right lanes, north of Butler Hill up to the North 270. Exeter slow, again, from the Union Road overpass up through to about Virginia. There's heavier traffic, but not a jam. Starting to see a little bit of a backup westbound 64 on the Poplar. We had a train crossing earlier. Route 3 at Monsanto, it says cross, so that volume's up to the bridge now. Maybe that's why we're starting to back up there. And Route 3 is better, but still from Queenie up through Monsanto, pretty congested. Northbound Route 3 for the time being, but southbound Route 3 through there has completely thinned out. Next update is 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
6:41, and time for us to check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg.
And Debbie, we're seeing a break from the thunderstorms that went through early this morning. They're all to our north and east, so it's dry at the moment, but it's cloudy. There's some more showers to our south and west. Those will try to come through a little bit later on this morning. And then there's some more activity as you head south and west toward the Springfield area, and that's going to be moving in, I think, as we go into the afternoon hours. So off and on rain showers today, even a thunderstorm or two. Our high temperature this afternoon will get to about 60. I think tonight it could be much more volatile. Showers and heavy thunderstorms, a risk of severe weather that includes downpours, hail, damaging winds, and yes, it's that time of year where we have to start talking about the threat of tornadoes, a low 51. Now that tapers off to a shower or thunderstorm early tomorrow. It's mostly cloudy for the balance of the day with highs in the upper 60s. We jump to 80 or better on Friday. There could be a shower or thunderstorm early. I think most of the day is dry with some sun and a gusty breeze out of the south and southwest. 81 or high. A front comes through early Saturday with it, maybe a shower to start the day. Then mostly cloudy, breezy, and cooler. 64 early, then falling into the 50s. Sunday, the pick of the week. Sunshine or high about 70. 47 at St. Peter's, 48 in Florissant, cloudy, 51 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Joe, thank you. It's 6:42 sports, and specifically the rumors surrounding the Blues and the trade deadline coming up in just a couple of minutes. Principia School in Town and Country is dealing with a chickenpox outbreak. Here's KMOX Health Editor Fred Bottomer.
Statement provided by Principia School. School officials say there are less than 10 confirmed cases in their community, with affected students both in the lower and middle grades. Principia is a faith-based boarding and day school that serves 512 students through all grade levels. It generally encourages the use of prayer for healing, but does not prohibit vaccines. The statement says school officials have been in contact with both students' families and the St. Louis County Department of Public Health since the start of the outbreak. According to the statement, students who have not been vaccinated have been told to stay home for the next 3 weeks. Principia's website classifies one of the school's nurses as a Christian Science nurse, which they describe as a nurse who responds in ways that are practical, compassionate, and in accord with the church manual. It is specifically noted on their webpage that those nurses do not have medical training. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Medical professionals in many parts of the country have never seen a case of the measles and now are faced with outbreaks. Dr. Alex Garza, SSM Health Chief Community Health Officer, says that's why there are algorithms and protocols that clinics and hospitals follow.
Things such as you don't want to bring them into the waiting room. You want to bring them into a separate entrance. You want to have the nurse physically go out into the parking lot to take a look at the child to see if this looks like a suspicious case of measles.
Garza says established communication channels between public health officials and medical facilities in the event measles cases are suspected and diagnosed.
For decades, many women have followed the same advice: start mammograms around age 40 and get one every year. But new research suggests screening may work better when it's tailored to a woman's personal risk. KFF Health News editor-at-large for public health and CBS News medical contributor Dr. Celine Gounder explains.
Breast cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer among women in the United States, with tens of thousands of lives taken each year. Mammograms can catch cancer early when treatment is most effective, but like any medical tests, they have downsides: false alarms, extra scans, biopsies, and even the detection of slow-growing cancers that might never actually harm someone.
Let's talk Blues hockey. The Blues play at Seattle tonight at 9 o'clock, but most are watching for the trade deadline Friday at 2 o'clock. The Blues are out of the playoff race, and therefore they are willing to trade some of their top talent. You got to be careful what you read out there. There are a lot of rumors. The NHL, this has been going on for years, not just in the social media era, but for years. The trade deadline brings out all the rumors. I mean, the rumor mills in the NHL get wild, and they have for decades. But this is an update 13 minutes ago from Darren Dreger, TSN's hockey insider, and he says it's believed St. Louis and Buffalo went the distance on Robert Thomas trade talks. He says on X, sounds like the Sabres aren't willing to part with the necessary pieces: prospects, a player, and a first-round pick. Still teams nibbling, but the Blues are firm in what the return needs to be for the young center. Robert Thomas is an elite player. He is 26 years old. He's a center. He's an all-star. He is a player that a lot of teams are going after, and as Dreger just said, and we have heard the same, the Blues want a haul for Robert Thomas. Another player that has been mentioned in a lot of trade speculation is Jordan Kyrou. Thomas is 26 years old. Kyrou is 27. Both of them are tied together. They have big contracts, and the Blues were planning to build around them. Could they trade one or both of them? We shall see. Justin Falk would seem like an easy trade candidate. He has a $6.5 million cap hit through next season, so through 2027, and a lot of teams would be interested in the offensive-minded and defensive-minded defenseman in Justin Falk to help them in their playoff push. And then the other name that is out there, and brace yourselves for this one, Jordan Binnington. Now, Binnington is one of those goaltenders that can carry you all the way through the playoffs. We've seen it for ourselves. But it's been 7 years since the Blues won the Stanley Cup. Binnington will turn 33 this summer. The Blues have a very good goaltender behind him in Joel Hofer. He's only 25 years old. They could build around Hofer and get something for Binnington moving forward. That's why his name is out there in trade talks as well. So Thomas, Kyrou, Falk, Binnington, there could be others. We'll keep an eye on it. 2 o'clock on Friday afternoon is the NHL trade deadline. Tonight, 7 o'clock on KMOX, 6:45 pregame for the Billikens. They take on Loyola. We will have it for you on KMOX, and the Billikens will have senior night. Robbie Avila and others will say goodbye to the home crowd and to Coach Josh Schertz. It will be an emotional one for sure, with Avila and Schertz going way back to Robbie's high school days. The Billikens are 26-3. They have some business to attend to. A win here today clinches the A10 title for them, and it also is a step closer to an NCAA tournament spot, an A10 tournament win for them, would be an automatic bid. They are still in play for an at-large. Missouri is in play for an at-large for sure, but they looked ugly last night. They lost 80-64 at Oklahoma. 11th ranked Illinois looked great. They crushed Oregon 80-54. The Cardinals play today in an exhibition game against Nicaragua, part of the World Baseball Classic. You can hear that on 11:20 a.m. from Jupiter. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals and the Billikens, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
So if divorce is a part of your life, I'm very sorry. Been there and used to be a divorce attorney, and said it before, I hate things like divorce parties and XYZ, the same way I hate when people do stupid poses with guns, because it's a serious thing. It's a sad thing. It could be the best thing. It could be the right thing, but it's still something I think that should be treated with great respect. Call Susan L. Ward. And the second best advice I can give you is to call another good divorce attorney. Talk to your buddies, talk to your priest, talk to your pastor, meditate, pray, do anything you want to do. But make sure before you make any big decisions, you talk to Susan L. Ward so that she can give you real answers. She's been doing this for decades. If you write down your top 5-10 questions, about money and custody and all this kind of stuff, she'll give you real answers. She's not a wizard. She doesn't have a crystal ball. It'll be a little vague, but it will be very specific and quite accurate. 314-783-9400, stlfamilylaw.com.
In a world of change, music captures the journey of the human spirit. Join the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra for Bernstein and Robertson, American Reflections, March 6th and 7th. Conductor David Robertson returns to Powell Hall to present works by 4 American luminaries, including Leonard Bernstein's Symphony No. 2 and Robertson's own piano concerto, March 6th and 7th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Make your reservations now for the 2026 Women of Achievement Award Luncheon, presented by KMOX. The award luncheon takes place Tuesday, May 19th at the Ritz-Carlton, St. Louis, and celebrates 10 outstanding volunteers from across the St. Louis metropolitan region. Doors open at 11:15, and the luncheon runs until 1:30 p.m. Reservations are just $60 per person. Sign up and find more details now at KMOX.com/events.
Now the news. At 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Hey, let's get you caught up on your ride in and the weather at 6:51. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the weather's cooperating right now, Debbie. I mean, dry highways and no sunshine. That's about as good as you can hope for as far as weather goes for driving. So it doesn't look bad. In fact, 55 for right now, at least, has cleared out Butler Hill to 270. It's just kind of slow. Well, Bayless to River Repair, north of Bayless maybe, so it's not bad. We had a jam 10 minutes ago. North 270, north of Big Bend to Manchester, slow, a little busy right around Clayton Road as you jockey for position in the lanes as you approach 64. Southbound 61 right around Wentzville Parkway, a little heavy. There was a stall at Highway A, then slow down to 64 from there, but once you get on 64, it's a great run all the way downtown. Eastbound Highway 70, that's a little busy past Highway A, right at TR Hughes, a little congestion 94 to 5th Street. And then you're good to go. And downtown, westbound 64 west of 3rd Street to the Poplars, slow. Still looks okay through 159 and Route 3. Just a little busy at a couple of the stoplights. Really, 8th Street to the bridge is the heaviest part there. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather, we're looking at some rain, not at the moment, but we are going to get some occasional rain and a thunderstorm or two, says AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg, a high of 60. Tonight, heavy thunderstorms with a couple of showers and a low of 51. Tomorrow, a stray morning thunderstorm. Then we're looking at a mostly cloudy and balmy Thursday, a high of 69. Friday, we get up to 81, believe it or not, with a thunderstorm in spots to start the day and some sun with 81 degrees on Friday. Weekend, 50s on Saturday, 70 on Sunday. Currently, it's 48 and cloudy downtown at the Arch.
It is 6:52, and 2 former Northwood police officers are facing trial for allegedly kidnapping a man. As reported by our partners at Fox 2, the officers are accused of kidnapping, beating, and abandoning a man in a field in 2023 after suspecting him of shoplifting. 56-year-old Charles Garman took the stand yesterday on the first day of the trial, and so did a witness, Kennick Williams, who was driving through the area that night.
She called 911 after seeing a Northwoods police car in this abandoned field and an officer standing over what she first thought was a red bag. Williams told the jury the officer left in a hurry, and she later found a man named Charles Garman beaten and bloody.
That night, the two officers reportedly gave Garman a courtesy ride instead of taking him to jail after he was caught shoplifting at a Northwoods Walgreens, something Garman was so often caught for that store had a no trespassing ordinance or order against him. Both of the officers' body cameras were turned off by the time Garman was put in the police vehicle.
The head of St. Louis's state-appointed police board is calling for calmer budget talks with City Hall. This comes a day after a contentious board meeting exposed a massive gap between what the city wants to spend on the police department and what the board is asking for. Board President Chris Saraceno met with Mayor Kara Spencer yesterday and released a statement saying, quote, "Our goal is not conflict, it is clarity." At last week's meeting, Spencer cast the lone dissenting vote against the board's proposed police budget of more than $250 million for next year. That's roughly $48 to $72 million more than the city had planned. At the time, Spencer called the proposal a slap in the face and warned it would force massive layoffs across city departments.
You might wonder why a conflict halfway around the world shows up immediately at the gas station down the street. Gas Buddy analyst Matt McLean says it comes down to one critical choke point, the Strait of Hormuz.
It's creating a bit of a glitch, especially when you have the Middle East, where the Strait of Hormuz provides about 20% of the entire global supply that has to travel through there by tanker, now kind of in a limbo situation as to whether or not anything's going to be making its way through there for a while.
McLean says anything that happens to oil infrastructure in Saudi Arabia, Iraq, or Kuwait could push prices even further.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement.
It's your birthday.
You know, to be honest, not a lot of celebrity birthdays, but I do want to mention someone. We just lost her, and today is her birthday, Catherine O'Hara. And not only was she a great actress and comedian, but I heard over and over during all the tributes to her that she might have been the nicest person in Hollywood. For real.
Yeah. And she won a SAG award, an actor award on Sunday posthumously.
Oh, man.
Yeah, for her role in the studio.
She was so good in the studio. Like, she made that show, I thought. And, I never met her, but she was one of those where you just felt like you knew her. And I was so happy to know, because I always felt like she was a nice person. So I was happy to hear all those stories.
Yeah. Yeah, this is one of those days when there's just not a lot of celebrity birthdays or local celebrity birthdays, which are brought to you by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Remember, if you have a birthday or anniversary you would like announced on this particular segment, Total AM at KMOX.com. Total AM at KMOX.com. Happy birthday wishes going out to John Saunders and Eric Sontag.
This is the best birthday ever.
For decades, Morgan & Morgan has represented hundreds of thousands of people at their hour of need. Injuries on the job, car crashes, medical malpractice, and nursing home abuse, Social Security claims, dangerous drugs, and dangerous products. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason, and no firm is even close. Then we got to thinking, what if we could prevent these terrible events before they occurred? So we built the AI-powered People Protector. Simply visit peopleprotector.com and type in the product you have questions about before you buy it. Children's toys and accessories, cars, drugs, products, you name it, we got it. With our success, we decided to pay it forward for all of America. Our way of saying thank you for your trust all these years. Morgan & Morgan, protecting America. And if you've already been injured, just visit us at forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Hey, St. Louis, need to sell your home fast? The Gelman team with eXp Realty can make you an instant cash offer in just 24 hours. No showings, no repairs, no waiting. Visit thegelmanteam.com or give them a call at 314-336-1991.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
When it comes to your hearing, you deserve expert care. At the Audiology Center, you're treated by certified audiologists Dr. Colleen Bosler, Dr. Adam Foss, and Dr. Bailey Campbell, meaning 8 years of advanced education, clinical expertise, and a commitment to best practices.
Charlie, we offer hearing aids from all major manufacturers, so you get what's best for you.
Every patient receives individualized testing, precise fittings using real ear measurements, and personalized programming to ensure your hearing aids perform exactly as they should. And our care doesn't stop once you leave the office. We're committed to helping your hearing aids last through ongoing adjustments, maintenance, and long-term support at no extra cost. Better hearing is personal, not one size fits all. Call us today at 636-441-7470 or visit us online at theaudiologycenterstl.com. And let's take that first step together.
Lee says on Facebook, and by the way, if you didn't know, we stream live on Facebook, X, and YouTube. Sometimes you remind people of that. We're on video every single day with Debbie Monterrey. I'm Tom Ackerman. Lee says they just watched Catherine O'Hara in Best in Show again. She says, love that crazy movie. I agree.
Gosh, I haven't seen that movie in years.
That's a good Catherine O'Hara movie. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And I used to enjoy her back in the SCTV days, which is a long time back. If you're heading out on the highways, you should enjoy the drive. It's a pretty good one right now, folks. On northbound 270, you're just kind of bogged down from Doherty Ferry up to Manchester, then it sorts itself out. Southbound 61's thinned out at 6470. 70's still just a little slow, 94 to 5th Street. If you're on northbound 55, again, another place that's thinned out, Butler Hill, north of Bales to River to Pear, looks good. Westbound 64 is just kind of slow approaching the Poplar Street Bridge downtown. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Wednesday, March the 4th. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
I'm Sean Malone. Prosecutors in St. Louis County have charged a man after allegedly sexually abusing a 7-year-old at the Kirkwood Walmart. Coming up, I'll tell you why they say there are more victims.
A budgetary threat from St. Louis County Executive Sam Page.
You may have to go to 2-week furloughs.
I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. It'll be cloudy today with rain at times and even a thunderstorm or two, high 60.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. An update from spring training on the way at 7:15.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour. Your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. The Pentagon is reporting new success on day 5 of the Middle East war. Admiral Brad Cooper says the U.S. military has hit hundreds of Iranian targets, including air defenses and Navy ships.
For decades, the Iranian regime has harassed international shipping. Today, there's not a single Iranian ship underway in the Arabian Gulf, Strait of Hormuz, or Gulf of Oman. And we will not stop.
An Iranian state agency says more than 1,000 people there have died in the war so far. State TV says a funeral scheduled to take place today for the Ayatollah Khamenei has been postponed. The U.S. is scrambling to secure military and charter flights for thousands of Americans stuck in the Middle East. Kat Spencer was on vacation in Dubai when the war broke out.
The messaging that we're seeing from the embassy and when we make our calls is that shelter in place, get out now, which we can't get out now because there's no way to get out.
American military officials investigating the site in Kuwait where 6 American troops were killed in an Iranian strike.
An Iranian drone struck the Tactical Operations Center. CBS News has learned the early warning system there was having a hard time detecting drones. 20-year-old Army reservist Declan Cody of West Des Moines, Iowa, was the youngest of those killed. Kira Cody is his sister.
I still don't fully think it's real. I just really wish I got to tell him I love him one more time.
The soldiers whose names were released were all assigned to the 103rd Sustainment Command based in Des Moines. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Results are in from yesterday's primary in Texas. Longtime GOP Senator John Cornyn faces a runoff against the state attorney general.
I refuse to allow a flawed, self-centered, and shameless candidate like Ken Paxton risk everything we've worked so hard to build over these many years.
Correspondent Ed O'Keefe has more from Austin.
Early polling shows Tallarico could defeat Paxton in November. That's the nightmare scenario for Republicans. Remember, Democrats haven't won a statewide race in the Lone Star State since back in 1994.
CBS News projects Democratic State Rep James Tallarico the winner over Jasmine Crockett. More than 24 families have filed a lawsuit against a fertility doctor in Bakersfield, California. The accusation, Brian Ocasio, who had his medical license suspended for abusing illegal drugs, won't give their embryos back. Christina Chandler is among the complainants.
It definitely hurts. To others, it's embryos, but to us, it's our children.
Dow futures are down 49. This is CBS News.
What is going on?
What's going on here? How is this possible? Great storytelling starts here.
Oh, come on.
Why? It's time for 60 Minutes.
Okay, class, let's begin.
Psst, love your boots. I just sold a pair like that on eBay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it took like 2 seconds to list and they sold almost immediately. I've been selling everything lately. Some chunky boots, a faux fur coat I never wore, and a vintage chair that was more of an expensive clothing rack.
You know, I actually bought these on eBay. Wait, are you Kitty Sell Stuff from Brooklyn?
Okay, quiet, please.
Find what you love, sell what you don't. eBay. Things people love.
DQ presents the Spicy Menu. For a limited time, try the new Flamethrower Chicken Strip Basket for $6.99 with spicy, bold strips that heat you up. Served with a side of famous DQ soft serve as a dip to cool you down. That's right, dip those spicy chicken strips right into soft serve, plus fries and toast, all for just $6.99. And add a new pineapple lemonade sparkler or cooler made with tahini. It's the limited time only Spicy Menu. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy, tastes good. Participation may vary.
It is 7:04. Right now, we've got cloudy skies, 48 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. A man from St. Louis City has been arrested for allegedly sexually abusing and enticing a 7-year-old at the Kirkwood Walmart Sunday. KMOX's Sean Malone talked with the prosecutor.
33-year-old Esmond Pasick is charged with 1 count of enticement of a child and 1 count of sexual abuse in the first degree. Here's St. Louis County Prosecuting Attorney Melissa Price-Smith on what he did.
He was stroking his genitals under his clothing. He approached her. He then rubbed his covered genitals on her shoulder and asked her if she wanted to grab it. She immediately ran and told her parent what happened.
Price-Smith says surveillance footage from the Walmart shows Pasick doing this to 3 more children that same day. However, no other victims have come forward at this time. Price is asking parents who are at that Kirkwood Walmart on Sunday afternoon to speak with their children.
A woman is dead in Carlisle, Illinois, and the major case squad of Greater St. Louis is on the case. Carlisle police found the 41-year-old during a welfare check at a home on Fairfax Street yesterday morning. If you know anything, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers.
We are going to, at this moment, jump over to the Pentagon. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is holding a briefing. Let's go live.
The 2 most powerful air forces in the world will have complete control of Iranian skies, uncontested airspace. I hope all the folks watching understand what uncontested airspace and complete control means. It means we will fly all day, all night, day and night, finding, fixing, and finishing the missiles and defense industrial base of the Iranian military, finding and fixing their leaders and their military leaders, flying over Tehran, flying over Iran, flying over their capital, flying over the IRGC, Iranian leaders looking up and seeing only U.S. and Israeli air power every minute of every day until we decide it's over. And Iran will be able to do nothing about it. B-2s, B-52s, B-1s, Predator drones, fighters, controlling the skies, picking targets, death and destruction from the sky all day long. We're playing for keeps. Our warfighters have maximum authorities granted personally by the president and yours truly. Our rules of engagement are bold, precise, and designed to unleash American power, not shackle it. This was never meant to be a fair fight, and it is not a fair fight. We are punching them while they're down, which is exactly how it should be. Thus far, Operation Epic Fury has delivered twice the air power of shock and awe of Iraq in 2003, minus Paul Bremer and the nation building. The campaign has 7 times the intensity of Israel's previous operations against Iran during the 12-day war, 7 times. And as President Trump said, more and larger waves are coming. We are just getting started. We are accelerating, not decelerating. Iran's capabilities are evaporating by the hour, while American strength grows fiercer, smarter, and utterly dominant. More bombers and more fighters are arriving just today. And now, with complete control of the skies, we will be using 500-pound, 1,000-pound, and 2,000-pound GPS and laser-guided precision gravity bombs, of which we have a nearly unlimited stockpile. We used more exquisite standoff munitions at the start, but no longer need to. Our stockpiles of those, as well as Patriots, remains extremely strong. The enemy can no longer shoot the volume of missiles they once did, not even close. And the chairman will lay out some of those percentages. So our air defenses and that of our allies have plenty of runway. We can sustain this fight easily for as long as we need to. And as I said yesterday, we set the terms. Now, you may not see much of it because the IRGC shut off the internet to the entirety of the country. They blind their people on purpose, just like they kill their own on purpose. Much was made of the volume of missiles Iran was able to shoot in the first few days. And sadly, as we projected, a few got through and killed 6 of our best, who will hopefully arrive home soon. We will avenge them, no doubt. But I liken Iran's predicament to a football team who scripted the first 20 plays of a game. The team knew what plays to run because their first few drives were scripted. But now that the game has started and the blitz is on, they don't know what plays to call, let alone how to get in the huddle and call those plays. Iran's senior leaders are dead. The so-called governing council that might have selected a successor, dead, missing, or cowering in bunkers, too terrified to even occupy the same room. Senior generals, mid-level officers, enlisted ranks, they can't talk or communicate, let alone mount a coordinated and sustained offensive. That's not great for morale. The Iranian Air Force is no more, built for 1996, destroyed in 2026. The Iranian Navy rests at the bottom of the Persian Gulf. Combat ineffective, decimated, destroyed, defeated, pick your adjective. In fact, last night, we sunk their prize ship, the Soleimani. Looks like POTUS got him twice. Their Navy, not a factor. Pick your adjective, it is no more. In fact, yesterday, in the Indian Ocean, and we'll play it on the screen there, an American submarine sunk an Iranian warship that thought it was safe in international waters. Instead, it was sunk by a torpedo. Quiet death. The first sinking of an enemy ship by a torpedo since World War II. Like in that war, back when we were still the War Department, we are fighting to win. Also, yesterday, the leader of the unit who attempted to assassinate President Trump has been hunted down and killed. Iran tried to kill President Trump, and President Trump got the last laugh. Now, this is not a mission accomplished situation. This is simply a reality check. The combination of U.S. and Israeli intelligence and combat power will control Iran, and will control it soon. Sure, Iran will still be able to shoot some missiles and still be able to launch one-way attack drones at civilian targets, and their proxies will attempt to attack our embassies, bases, and soft targets. They are terrorists, after all, and they need to target civilians because they can't fight toe-to-toe. But we will find them, and we will kill them. This is what the fake news misses. We've taken control of Iran's airspace and waterways without boots on the ground. We control their fate. But when a few drones get through or tragic things happen, it's front page news. I get it. The press only wants to make the president look bad, but try for once to report the reality. The terms of this war will be set by us at every step. As I said Monday, the mission is laser focused. obliterate Iran's missiles and drones and facilities that produce them, annihilate its navy and critical security infrastructure, and sever their pathway to nuclear weapons. Iran will never possess a nuclear bomb, not on our watch, not ever.
Pete Hegseth, Defense Secretary, giving an update on Operation Epic Fury. And we will have much more from CBS as we go along this morning. This is Total Information AM at 7:13.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
No pain, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Now, a St. Louis Cardinals spring training report. Sponsored by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens, and making memories. And by Happy Roof. We always create happy endings on the voice of the Cardinals. KMOX.
For the first time since pitchers and catchers reported, the Cardinals complex was quiet as the team enjoyed their first off day of spring. Today, the team will host Nicaragua's WBC team, managed by Dusty Baker. A number of Cardinals playing in the World Baseball Classic played for their national teams yesterday. Thomas Saggese had 2 hits, including a home run for Team Italy against the Cubs. Matt Koperniak had 2 hits and 3 RBIs for Great Britain against the Brewers. Luis Gastelum gives up 2 runs in an inning and 2/3 for Mexico, but is credited with the win against Arizona. Brian Torres had a hit and a walk for Yadier Molina's Puerto Rico team against the Red Sox, and catcher Leo Bernal played but did not bat for Panama against the Yankees. Today features more exhibitions for WBC teams before official pool play begins later this week. WBC games are taking place in Miami, Houston, Puerto Rico, and Tokyo. As the Cardinals welcome Team Nicaragua to Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium, Matthew Liberatore will make the start, becoming the first starter to make a 3rd start this spring. In Jupiter, Florida at Cardinal Spring Training, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
That game against Nicaragua can be heard on 11:20 a.m. today at 12:05. Tonight on both 104.1 FM and 11:20 a.m., you'll hear Billiken basketball. SLU is at home tonight against Loyola. 7 o'clock tip-off, 6:45 pregame. Bob Ramsey and Earl Austin Jr. And after the game, it's a tribute to the seniors and the grad students. It's senior night. Josh Schertz and Robbie Avila will do it one more time at Chaffetz.
So a big night. But, at the end of the day, we got to get past all the emotions and play the game. And that's got to be the focus, is trying to win the game, because we know what's at stake in terms of the league and in terms of the NCAA tournament. And so every game here late's magnified, win or lose. And so our whole focus is on, trying to put our best foot forward and beat a Loyola team that we know is going to come out just like every team we've faced here down the stretch and play their best game of the season against us. We got to be ready to absorb that and throw our own punches and compete inside the game and try to find a way to win a league title. And if we do, be a great night of celebration for not just our team, but our fans, as you said, have been amazing for us, and we're not in the position that we're in to have a chance to do what we have a chance to do Wednesday night without our fans. It's not a coincidence. We're 18-0 at home.
They are outstanding, 26-3 overall. The Billikens' 25th ranked team in the country. Mizzou lost 80-64 at Oklahoma last night. Illinois whipped Oregon 80-54. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals and Billikens. Blues play tonight at 9 at Seattle. This is KMOX.
Create the ultimate raised bed garden with St. Louis Composting. Our premium compost and soil mixes are perfect for filling the raised beds you'll enjoy building, and even better for growing fresh, homegrown veggies. Imagine harvesting your own tomatoes, peppers, and cilantro for fresh salsa the whole family can enjoy. And with delivery right to your door, getting started has never been easier. Visit stlcompost.com to order a convenient delivery from your phone in seconds, or stop by one of our 9 locations in the St. Louis area. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories.
Did you see the forecast? Another huge storm is tracking right for us.
I saw. Honestly, I'm not worried.
Not worried. Your roof is older than mine.
I called Happy Roof. They did a pre-storm inspection, caught a loose flashing that would have caused a major leak.
Wow, I really need that peace of mind.
Protect your happy place before the rain starts.
Booking my free inspection at thehappyroof.com or call 314-897-2310. It's all about the happy ending.
Saving money is hard, but what's worse is when you save all year, hoping to use that money for a nice vacation, and then your AC unit dies and that money is gone. Now imagine yourself in retirement. You've saved a nice amount, hoping to use it for fun, but every time you take money out of your 401k, you get hammered in taxes. It's a sad fact, but your number one expense in retirement may not be cruises and trips. It could be taxes. At the All Financial Group, we believe in keeping more of your money where it belongs, with you. Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement Seminar, Tuesday, March 10th and Thursday, March 12th. Fund your retirement, not Uncle Sam's. You must qualify to attend. Call today to reserve your spot, 636-230-8824, or go online to yourmoneymattersstl.com. And services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents nor representatives may give any tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
Now the news at 1 the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:20 and time for us to check in with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We've got an injury crash reported on St. Charles Rock Road at International Plaza over in St. Anne. If it's just a little east of Cypress, I believe, if you're headed that way, just be advised. Eastbound Highway 70, a little slow. Z to 64 in the right lanes is still kind of busy, 94 to 5th Street, but after that, not bad. We do have a crash, though. They call it as a rescue crash. I just see a car that bounced off the guardrail. The ramp is partially blocked. It looks like you can get around it. The ramp from eastbound 70 to northbound 170. Police and at least a flatbed are on the scene. I can't see the emergency crews that may be back around the bend. Eastbound 64, a little busy right through Prospect. It's a little slow between Clarkson and Timberlake. Westbound 64, Hampton headed out to Big Bend's kind of busy. Northbound 270, a slowdown. North of Sappington up to Gravois, and then north of Big Bend up through Manchester. North 55, the right lane's bogged down. South of Butler Hill to 270. Bayless up through Holly Hills is pretty slow. Telegraph, Baumgartner up to Pottle, you've got delays. Downtown, we look okay at the Poplar, but westbound 64 is heavy, west of 50 through 159. Next update is 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
As for the weather, from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, we're looking at some rain today, off and on, occasional rain, thunderstorm or two, says Joe Lundberg, high 60. Tonight, heavy thunderstorms, low 51. Tomorrow, a stray morning thunderstorm, otherwise mostly cloudy and balmy, high of 69. Currently, it's 49 downtown at the Arch.
And the news continues at 7:22. The head of St. Louis's state-appointed police board is calling for calmer budget talks with City Hall. This comes days after a contentious board meeting exposed a massive gap between what the city wants to spend on the police department and what the board is asking for. Board President Chris Saraceno met with Mayor Kara Spencer yesterday and released a statement saying, "Our goal is not conflict, it is clarity."
At last week's meeting, Spencer cast the lone dissenting vote against the board's proposed police budget of more than $250 million for next year. That is roughly $48 to $72 million more than the city had planned. At the time, the mayor called the proposal a slap in the face and warned it would force massive layoffs across city departments.
2 former Northwood police officers are facing trial for allegedly kidnapping a man, as reported by our Fox 2 news partners. The officers are accused of kidnapping, beating, and abandoning a man in a field in 2023 after they picked him up on suspicion of shoplifting.
56-year-old Charles Garman took the stand yesterday on the first day of the trial, and so did a witness, Kenneth Williams, who was driving through the area that night.
After seeing a Northwoods police car in this abandoned field and an officer standing over what she first thought was a red bag, Williams told the jury the officer left in a hurry, and she later found a man named Charles Garman beaten and bloody.
That night, the 2 officers reportedly gave Garman a courtesy ride instead of taking him to jail after he was caught shoplifting at a Northwoods Walgreens, something Garman was so often caught for that the store had a no trespassing order against him. Both of the officers' body cameras were turned off by the time Garman was put in the police vehicle.
Attorneys representing the St. Louis Archdiocese are arguing for the dismissal of parts of a sexual abuse lawsuit, saying they cannot be sued for sexual assault because they are an organization and the suit doesn't name an individual. Attorney Dan Rhodes represents the victims.
People need to know that the issue of repressed memory is serious. It's not a it's not a joke. People are really damaged very badly to where their memory is repressed.
The Archdiocese is also arguing Missouri law protects them from punitive damages. The judge took the arguments under consideration.
Missouri Senator Josh Hawley is calling on social media companies to do more to remove child sex abuse material from their platforms. At a Senate Judiciary Subcommittee hearing Tuesday, Hawley questioned a woman identified only as Jane Doe. She's the mother of a survivor whose images have circulated online for more than 25 years. Hawley asked why she thought companies weren't being more proactive about taking the photos down.
Have you had any experience with the social media platforms where this material often circulates? And this is child sex abuse material. Have you worked with them? Have you asked them to take down your daughter's pictures? What's your experience with them been like?
I've been fighting since day one. That's all I do. I contact people. I hound people down. I said, if we were famous, if she was a celebrity, those pictures would be down. I said, she's not famous. She's famous to me.
Joe Doe says she believes social media companies lead the material up because they can make money off of it.
Granite City Space for Disabled Veterans closing its doors and seeking a new home. The Quad Cities Disabled American Veterans Club, Chapter 53, announcing that they will be closing their doors at the end of the month.
Commander Brian Hodebeck says the chapter has maintained the space for almost 3 decades.
We get calls pretty much every day asking for resources. If people need help with the rent or power utility bills, our main goal is to help veterans get the benefits that they have earned.
Hodebeck says the chapter is committed to finding a space for their 200 members.
Other Midwest cities are surpassing St. Louis in a key category.
New housing permits issued, with smaller Midwest cities like Cincinnati, Indianapolis, and Kansas City jumping ahead of the St. Louis region. St. Louis University professor of sociology Ness Sandoval tells KMOX the issue is the region has long resisted new housing, big and small.
I think a lot of people are afraid of what growth looks like. They're afraid of traffic. They're afraid of things that they have never experienced.
Sandoval adds the next round of census population estimates comes out later this month, and people resistant to new housing should not be upset if it shows the region's population continues to decline. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Americans are more worried about affordability than taxes. That's according to the 2026 Wallet Hub Taxpayers Survey that showed 78% are more worried about their ability to afford things right now than they are about taxes. That said, 66% of Americans think their current tax rate is too high. 95% believe filing taxes should be free.
It is 7:27. The time check is sponsored for you by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Let's talk about homes and home sites, and McKelvey Homes does it better than anyone. McKelvey Homes has been here since 1898, Missouri's oldest home builder, and you last that long because you're the best. They are doing an 1898 sale now through March 31st. New home buyers can save big. Here's the first offer. Save $18,980 on to-be-built homes, or select one of their 30 move-in ready homes and save even more, up to $94,000 on the luxurious Summerlin Madison display home. Plus, All move-in ready homes get a special 30-year fixed financing as low as 4.99% for qualified buyers at Summerlin or 5.25% at all other communities. And then this offer. The Mid-American Carpenters Regional Council is offering $10,000 towards closing costs for to-be-built homes under 3,000 square feet, $15,000 towards closing costs for to-be-built homes over 3,000 square feet. And Groundwork Mortgage, that's McKelvey's preferred lender, is helping with that financing rate as low as 4.99% on move-in ready homes at Summerlin, 5.25% on other move-in ready homes. I mean, just some great deals from McKelvey Homes. Go online. You can read all about it, McKelveyhomes.com, and move up to McKelvey.
A cataract occurs when the natural lens in your eye becomes cloudy and hard. This affects your eyesight by darkening and blurring your vision. The only treatment for cataracts is to remove that cloudy natural lens and replace it with a new artificial intraocular lens. Cataract surgery is now one of the most common and successful surgeries. Hi, this is Charlie Brennan here in St. Louis. For cataracts, I recommend you call the doctor's doctors. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. 314-966-5000. Ask these doctors about the light adjustable lens, allowing you to customize your vision after cataract surgery. The doctor's doctors, where the Brennan family has received its eye care for 30 years. 314-966-5000 in St. Charles, Sullivan, and 270 in Manchester. And at youridoc.com.
Save $10 on a pair of Rain-X Latitude wiper blades at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Our professional parts people will even install them for free.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Staples has hundreds of great ways to boost your brand, like spectacular signs, brilliant brochures, eye-popping posters, mouth-watering menus, and more. Shop now through April 18th and save up to $125 on all your custom prints. Staples. That was easy.
It is now 7:30 in downtown St. Louis. We have cloudy skies, 48 degrees right now. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brands in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they're still working with this crash on eastbound 70, the ramp to northbound 170. The ramp partially blocked. I haven't seen a car go through recently, but every once in a while, something's getting by. So just be prepared. It's not backing up the highway, though. Eastbound 70 is fine through there. In fact, eastbound 70 looks great from the Wentzville area all the way in past the airport into downtown. Eastbound 64, you are backing up from Prospect toward Lake St. Louis Boulevard. It's bumper to bumper there. Through the Chesterfield Parkways, it's slow, briefly busy past 170. Not that bad there. Westbound 64 Hampton, headed out through Big Bend's a little slower. South 270 Alta Ladue, a little busy. North 270, approaching Tesson Ferry to Gravois, 44 to Manchester, and then north of there, just a couple of busier spots up to Ladue. Doesn't look as bad north of Manchester. Northbound 55, the right lane's a little slow north of Butler Hill. All lanes back up Bayless to Weber, then it's slow to about Holly Hills on the Illinois side. Westbound 6450 through 159 is the biggest delay. Next update at 7:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis
CBS News special report, a bold prediction from the Pentagon on day 5 of war with Iran. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth predicts the U.S. and Israel will control the nation's airspace in 2 days.
It means we will fly all day, all night, day and night, finding, fixing, and finishing the missiles and defense industrial base of the Iranian military.
He says strikes so far have left the nation's military in a weakened state.
The enemy can no longer shoot the volume of missiles they once did, not even close.
And in this hour's briefing, Hegseth revealed
the leader of the unit who attempted to assassinate President Trump has been hunted down and killed. Iran tried to kill President Trump, and President Trump got the last laugh.
In a first since World War II, the defense secretary says a torpedo from a U.S. sub sank an Iranian warship. An Iranian state agency reports more than 1,000 people there killed so far. CBS News special report. I'm Deborah Rodriguez.
It is now 7:32. Esmond Pasek, a 33-year-old man from St. Louis, has been arrested and charged with enticing a minor and sexual abuse against a 7-year-old. This occurred at the Kirkwood Walmart on Sunday. St. Louis County Prosecuting Attorney Melissa Price-Smith details the allegations caught on security cameras.
He approached a 7-year-old child while stroking his genitals under his clothing.
He then rubbed his covered genitals on the 7-year-old's shoulder and asked her if she wanted to touch it.
Price Smith says the man is also seen doing the same to 3 other children in the Walmart that same day, but no other victims so far have come forward. Price Smith is asking parents who shopped at the Kirkwood Walmart with their kids Sunday to please speak with them.
Talk to your children about the shopping experience and if there was anything unusual that happened.
Pasek is being held on a $250,000 bond.
The major case squad of Greater St. Louis has been activated in Carlisle, Illinois, following the discovery of a woman's body. Carlisle police responded to a welfare check yesterday morning at the home of Fairfax Street around 8:10 a.m. and found a 41-year-old woman dead inside. 26 investigators are now working the case. Here are the numbers for the Major Case Squad and Crime Stoppers. Anybody with information is asked to call the Major Case Squad command post, 618-594-2451, or you can call Crime Stoppers, 866-371-TIPS.
A suspected gas leak led to a home explosion in Jefferson County. Spire says a contractor doing excavating work for another utility hit a natural gas line. Spire contacted the fire department, which evacuated the area. Michelle Riker lives nearby in Imperial.
Well, I was sitting in my chair, and I heard a big, loud boom. And I thought something had ran into maybe mailboxes or house or something. I went outside, and all I saw was a bunch of puffs of big white smoke. Went across the street, and the house was on fire.
5 people who lived in the home that exploded had gotten notice to evacuate and were not there inside the home at the time. The state fire marshal is conducting the investigation.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your Money Minute next.
I was ordering food from our usual place for the big meeting. My VP said, "Please, God, no."
For workplaces suffering with corporate catering deficiency, every day's a struggle.
The food was always meh and over budget. Before Easy Cater, I thought that was normal.
Easy Cater is designed to treat CCD with a huge variety of restaurants, help meet dietary needs, and stay on budget. Use daily. One platform lets you save time and thrive. Ask your web browser about Easy Cater or start an order at easycater.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Start your summer early at the St. Charles Boat Show, March 5th through 8th at the St. Charles Convention Center. The top marine dealers from the Lake of the Ozarks will be on site with the newest boats, personal watercraft, docks, and accessories. Step aboard, compare models, and find the perfect ride for your family. Special show pricing and experts ready to help make your boating dreams a reality. Visit lakeoftheozarksboatdealers.com for more information.
7:36 and time for your money report from Bloomberg. It's sponsored for you by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Traders seem willing to jump on any signs of good news with Iran. According to the New York Times, Iran is said to have made indirect contact with the U.S. to negotiate an end to the war. However, the report says U.S. officials are skeptical, and the outreach happened days ago. Stock futures shifted from losses to small gains on hopes the conflict will be short. Meantime, Bayer is facing continuing uncertainty in its efforts to contain litigation over the company's pesticides business, and that's weighing on its financial outlook. The agriculture and health giant expects profits to be little changed this year. Bayer has been facing claims that its Roundup weed killer causes cancer. Bayer has denied the allegations. And the Tennis Channel is looking to take a bigger swing at the online TV market. The network has started selling its streaming service on Amazon's Prime Video channel store and plans to expand to other distributors. The service costs $12 a month. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
For nearly 100 years, Busey Wealth Management has helped families and businesses make smart financial decisions that stand the test of time. From personalized investment plans to tax strategies that work for you, we take a big picture approach, connecting you with the right experts to help protect what you've built and plan for what's next. Busey Wealth Management, here for every chapter of your financial story.
He's been an industry leader when it comes to commissions, so it should come as no surprise that the recent Realtor settlement has only empowered us to continue offering our sellers even better rates. We now list homes for only 2%. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Call me, 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/Mike.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Tax season is here, and Missouri families are already seeing the real impact of the Working Families Tax Cut Act. House Republicans are delivering real results for hardworking Missourians. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, the bill is projected to raise wages in Missouri by about $3,000 to $6,000 over the next 4 years. That's more money for groceries, gas, and greater security for your family's future. In Congress, I'm working to protect working families, strengthen our economy, and ensure you are keeping more of your hard-earned money.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives. If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Considering buying or selling a home? When it comes to the Gelman team with eXp Realty, numbers don't lie. Over 1,500 Google and Zillow 5-star reviews, nearly 6,000 homes, and $2.5 billion in real estate sold. Call 314-336-1991, thegelmanteam.com.
It's men's Billikens basketball action tonight as they take to the court against Loyola. Pregame 6:45, tip at 7 on your home for Billikens basketball, KMOX.
It is 7:40. Hey, by the way, just wanted to remind you that we have a pair of tickets to give away for you to see Sting at Stiefel Theater. It's coming up in October, so you have plenty of time to get your outfit picked out. But we'll do that after Tom's next sportscast, so keep listening to win, not now, but after Tom's sports when you hear the Sting music. Anyway, right now you're going to hear Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We got a stall reported westbound 70 at the Blanchette Bridge, Debbie, right lane. So westbound 70 drivers, just be aware. I'm not seeing any real delays through there. In fact, eastbound 70 is fine as well coming through that stretch from out Wentzville way. Eastbound 64, you've got Soul Stuff, Chesterfield Parkway West to about Timberlake, a little busy. 270 Ballast, then east of Lindbergh into the Interbelt, a couple of slow spots. South 170 itself bogs down at Ladue. Westbound 64 Science Center to Big Bend is busy. Southbound 270 approaching 364 to Ladue, a couple of slow spots. North 270 is just off the pace pretty much the whole way from 55 up to about Clayton Road. Then it's not as bad after that. If you're on northbound 55, Bayless up through Holly Hills is slow. Westbound 64, west of 50 through 159 backed up. Then it's just slow from 3rd Street to about Route 3. It's clear, actually, on the Poplar. Next update is 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. We have a lot of people coming in town. 4 basketball games at Enterprise Center on Friday alone. We're going to tell them all that 80 and sunny is how it is every March 6th in St. Louis.
It's normal, right?
Yeah.
We've got an incredible air mass, Tom, coming into our area over the next few days. Now, today, it's kind of a transition. We're going to see clouds throughout the day, often on showers and a thunderstorm or two. Mostly weighted to the midday and afternoon hours. We'll get to about 60. Showers and thunderstorms tonight. Those thunderstorms could be heavy, if not severe. Flooding downpours, hail, damaging winds, even, yes, I hate to say it, tornadoes are all on the table. Tonight's still about 51. That moves out pretty quickly tomorrow morning, and most of the day ends up dry with lots of clouds and a high of 69. Could be a thunderstorm early Friday. I think that moves away quickly, and then we open up the door of that 80-degree warmth with some sun. A front will come through early Saturday. Could be a shower with it. Behind it, Mostly cloudy, breezy, and cooler, 64 in the morning when we slip into the 50s. But Sunday looks great with sunshine and some clouds. We'll get to about 70. Right now it's 47 at St. Peter's, 49 in Florissant, cloudy, 51 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, thanks, Joe. It is 7:43. How many doctors in our region have ever actually seen a case of the measles?
I would say very few.
That's SSM Health Chief Community Health Officer Dr. Alexander Garza. You'll likely recognize the name. Garza served as the incident commander for the St. Louis Metropolitan Pandemic Task Force. Recent reports reveal many healthcare providers have never had firsthand experience with measles. Garza says there are a series of protocols in place.
If a patient has these specific complaints, meets these specific criteria, then this is how you need to handle the patient. These are, the steps you need to take. These are the tests you need to order.
Garza adds there's a heightened awareness of following those protocols because of the recent increase in cases of measles. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
A school in Town and Country is experiencing an outbreak of chickenpox.
In a statement provided by Principia School, school officials say they are dealing with less than 10 confirmed cases in the community. Principia is a faith-based boarding and day school that serves 512 students through all grade levels. The statement says school officials have been in contact with both students' families and the St. Louis County Department of Public Health since the start of the outbreak. According to the statement, the first case was confirmed in the lower school in February, resulting in school officials limiting contact between students in different grade levels. Officials also asked unvaccinated students not to attend school events. After a case in the middle school was confirmed this week, officials say students with no immunity, which they define as students with a prior history of chickenpox or who are unvaccinated, were required to leave the school. The statement says those students are not allowed to attend any school activities within 21 days of the most recent confirmed case. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Principia's website classifies one of the school nurses as a Christian Science nurse, which they describe as a nurse who responds in ways that are practical, compassionate, and in accord with the church manual. It's specifically noted on their webpage that those nurses do not have medical training. It's 7:45. All right, let's break down some college basketball and give you the full schedule of what's going on here over the next day or two. You heard from Josh Schertz earlier in the show about tonight's senior night. It'll be a special one. Among the players, Robbie Avila, his 4-year center who has been just a tremendous player. He has turned around two programs, Indiana State and SLU, and the Billikens 26-3 overall, 14-2 in the A10. Host Loyola tonight, 7 o'clock tip, 6:45 pregame on KMOX. The Billikens closing in on the A10 title. A win tonight will do it. As for Mizzou, they lost to Oklahoma last night, 80-64. It should not hurt their NCAA tournament chances. They seem to be in good shape with 10 SEC wins, but it will affect their SEC tournament seeding. Missouri just looked way out of sorts. If anything, they need to figure out how to play better or they're going to be gone quickly. Illinois beat Oregon 80-54 last night. They look like they've put themselves back together. Not that they ever left. They're the 11th ranked Illini, and they look really good right now. Miami of Ohio, 30-0 on the season. The MAC champions beat Toledo last night, 74-72, 19th ranked team in the country, the only undefeated team in America. The Missouri Valley Conference Tournament starts on Thursday at Enterprise Center. That's what I was talking to Joe about. Southern Illinois will play tomorrow at 3:30 against Drake. And the Salukis will start what is a very active tournament, as 3 games are on Thursday, 4 games on Friday, semifinals on Saturday, and the championship on Sunday on CBS. The OVC tournament starts today for SIUE. They tip at 6 o'clock in Evansville against Eastern Illinois, and Lindenwood plays tonight at 8:30 in Evansville against Arkansas Little Rock. So it's a busy time. March Madness is upon us with conference tournaments beginning this week, and for some, regular seasons coming to an end, like the Billikens. They play at home against Loyola, then they go to George Mason. If they wrap it up tonight, they'll be the number 1 seed in the A10 tournament. Looks like they're going to be that anyway. They own the tiebreaker against VCU. Now, As for hockey, the Blues, with the trade deadline approaching on Friday at 2:00, take on Seattle. That is a 9:00 face-off, and the Cardinals will be playing Nicaragua in the World Baseball Classic exhibition today.
Today is another spring training milestone day for the Cardinals as Matthew Liberatore becomes the first Cardinal starting pitcher to make a third start. In his last appearance, he throws 3 innings and 51 pitches, so he's likely to progress to 4 innings and perhaps as many as 60 to 70 pitches, getting him one more start away from having enough length to start a regular season game. Innings are starting to become scarce for pitchers as starters are going deeper into games, and Dustin May is being inserted into the Grapefruit League rotation. After doing work in live BP and simulated game settings on the backfields, May will make his first game appearance of spring tomorrow against the Pirates in Bradenton. At that point, Liberatore, May, Michael McGreevy, Kyle Leahy, Andre Palante, and Richard Fitz will all need to be on a starter schedule, getting innings through the duration of spring. Hunter Dobbins could also enter the mix later in camp as he continues to recover from an ACL tear. In Jupiter, Florida at Cardinal Spring Training, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
There's nothing like hearing your friends and family clearly. A grandchild's laugh, conversation with a friend, or the punchline to a joke. Charlie Brennan here with Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. Dr. Bosler and her team understand that hearing is personal. That's why you'll always work with certified audiologists like Adam Voss, Bailey Campbell, and Dr. Colleen Bosler.
That's right, Charlie. We offer hearing aids from all major manufacturers, so our recommendations are based on what fits you best. With us, we follow best practice fitting methods to ensure your hearing aids are programmed precisely for your unique hearing needs. But our care doesn't end when you walk out the door. As we know, hearing aids require continued support, adjustments, and maintenance, and we offer these services at no extra cost to you. Because better hearing isn't just about devices, it's about reconnecting to the moments that matter most. Call us today at 636-441-7470 or visit us online at theaudiologycenterstl.com.
It is now 7:50, and you are listening to Total Information AM.
And the kids just won't be quiet as she runs a traffic light.
Oh, Sting is coming to St. Louis, October 17th. He'll be on stage at Steeple Theater. Tickets are on sale now through Ticketmaster. But if you are our fifth caller at 314-955-1120, 314-955-1120, we will give you a pair of tickets. Good luck.
Looking for your dream home in Wentzville? Welcome to Sutton Farms by Lombardo Homes, where community and comfort come together. Enjoy resort-style living with a private clubhouse, indoor courts, a splash pad, sand volleyball, walking trails, and even a dog park. Design your own custom home in our Parkside, Nature, or Tradition series, all within the top-rated Wentzville School District. Discover the perfect blend of small-town charm and modern convenience at Sutton Farms, located off Piney Road in Wentzville. Visit lombardohomes.com to learn more.
St. Louis, get ready. One of the most powerful voices in country music is coming to the Dome at America Center on March 7th. Zach Bryan, live in concert.
It'll be fun, but those clouds, I'm telling you, baby.
With the songs you know by heart.
You can see now.
One night, one stage, an unforgettable night of raw, honest music. Tickets available now at Ticketmaster.com. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
With Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, they're still working that crash on the ramp from eastbound 70 to northbound 170. You can get around it. It's just a little busy there. It's not backing up the main travelers on the through lanes of eastbound 70. Westbound 70, a little slow at the Blanchette. We had that stall in the right lane on the bridge. Just a little busy there. Eastbound 64 from Prospect to 364. There's a couple of slowdowns briefly at Clarkson, 270 up to Spady, and then east of Lindbergh into about Big Bend. South 170 Bogstown near Olive now. Westbound 64 Hampton headed out to Big Bend, and then Lindbergh out through Ballas is slow. South 270 Dorset down through 364. It opens up before you get to Olive, and then it's just slow. Ladue to 64. North 270 approaching Tesson Ferry all the way up to 64. Pretty busy. 44 eastbound, a little slow down briefly at Cleve Station. Northbound 55 Bayless to River to Pear heavy. Route 3, it looks like northbound's jam from Judith up through Queenie. We had a train crossing there. Westbound 64 west of 50 through 159 is backed up. Next update is 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather-wise, it's going to be stormy. We have rain and maybe a thunderstorm or two in store for us today with a high of 60. And tonight we could see some heavy thunderstorms that could produce some flooding downpours, hail, damaging wind gusts, maybe even a isolated tornado, overnight low of 51. And then we could start out tomorrow with a stray thunderstorm, otherwise mostly cloudy, 69 degrees. Right now in downtown St. Louis, it's 48.
Congrats to Zach in Fairview Heights on winning the Sting tickets. Another giveaway tomorrow. It's still storming in Clayton as the news continues.
An update on the budget crisis comes from St. Louis County Executive Sam Page. He's warning residents that the county is headed toward a financial breaking point. He's borrowing terms from the weather report to make his point.
St. Louis County is under a budget thunderstorm watch. The budget forecast calls for a budget that will collapse by the end of the year if we don't have significant service reductions. And when we get there, and it's coming soon, then we will have a budget thunderstorm warning.
County Councilman Mark Harder fires back, quote, like most weathermen, Sam Page is lucky to get 50% of his forecasts right and still keep his job, end quote. Dr. Page says the county has enough in reserve funds to cover operations for another year or two. He's asking the council to reappropriate $8.6 million for 8 projects, including street improvements in unincorporated areas and security upgrades at the county's domestic violence shelter. But County Council Budget Committee Chairwoman Shalonda Webb says the county's budget is fundamentally solid and calls Page's warnings political theater. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Missouri State Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick is launching a performance audit of the Regional Arts Commission of St. Louis following a whistleblower complaint that alleges excessive staffing expenses and unconstitutional bonuses. Fitzpatrick's office says its initial investigation found potential violations, including improper credit card use, unauthorized bonus payments, and possible noncompliance with state law capping administrative costs at 15% of annual revenue. The RAC receives millions of dollars each year from St. Louis City and County hotel and motel tax revenue.
When the federal government abandons science, Missouri communities pay the price. That's according to Natalie Johnson at Great Rivers Environmental Law Center. They are Missouri's only nonprofit public interest environmental law firm, and they are filing a federal lawsuit against the Trump administration over climate change.
Johnson says the law is clear, and court decisions have reinforced that once the EPA determines greenhouse gas pollution endangers public health and welfare, the Clean Air Act authorizes the agency to regulate it. The Trump administration repealed the EPA's 2009 endangerment finding, for which the scientific evidence has only grown stronger since then, she says. Johnson says Missouri is already experiencing the real-world impacts of climate change, from extreme heat to stronger storms to flooding in neighborhoods that were never built to withstand it.
It's 7:56.
The legendary Fast Eddie of Fast Eddie's Bon Air and Cardinals Hall of Famer Jason Isringhausen.
Hey, it's that time of year again, man. It's starting to warm up. And you know the sun's getting a little brighter. I can hear the crack of the bat. So you know spring training is just around the corner.
Yeah, the true pros are doing just a little bit of stretching here and there, getting rid of those winter kinks, getting ready for those days that really count, Eddie. I'm talking about the ones you'll always remember at Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Boy, now that you got that right. It is all they can do to get ready for the lineup of the delicious eats, man. It's a half-pound Fat Eddie burger. Man, it's a hot chick on a stick, that big Elwood on a stick, and you know the succulent peel and eat shrimp are sitting over there on deck.
You do know I have to stretch out a little bit before I start hitting that dance floor, listening to that live music 7 days a week on that huge outdoor patio.
Well, it's like any other training, man. You got to warm up to get that party face on. It's really difficult out there to have that much fun on that warm, toasty patio. You know, like Mr. Shannon always said, if you're 21 and in the mood, it's Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from,
we can be twinsies,
to,
how was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom.
Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res. You know they do such a great job. Beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes now. This month, buy one, get one room of carpet clean for free. Unlimited rooms of carpet. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and let them know that Dave sent you. Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
It's 7:58. Gas prices were already going to climb this time of year, regardless of what's happening in the Middle East. The annual switch over to summer blend gasoline, a cleaner burning but more expensive formulation, is already rolling out in some markets and will reach most of the country within 2 to 3 weeks.
That is going to increase the price from that plus 10 to 30 cents on top of what has taken place in the Middle East at this point in time.
Matt McLean with Gas Buddy says that's the good news. North American production keeps the gas flowing.
Well, your gas is probably flowing if you are heading off to work. Hopefully you're not wasting it sitting there stuck somewhere. That's why we bring you traffic every 10 minutes during our morning drive. Roger Brand joins us from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We got a little slow traffic right now, Debbie. Westbound 70 at the city limits and approaching the Blanchette Bridge where we had a stall in the right lane. They're still working that crash on the ramp from eastbound 70 to northbound 170. Restrictions there. Northbound 270. Tesson Ferry all the way up through to about Clayton Road. After that, it's not as bad. South 270, past 364, and then Olive down through Ladou's pretty busy. South 170 bogs down at Olive. Eastbound 64, 270 through Ballas and Lindbergh through to almost McCausland's heavy. Westbound 64, Science Center to Big Bend is slow. Westbound 64 west of 50 through 159 is backed up on the Illinois side. From the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
49 degrees in downtown St. Louis with a cloudy sky. I'm Tom Ackerman, and these are the stories making news. Is it too late for diplomacy with Iran? After the news, Megan Lynch gets perspective from John Shaw of the Paul Simon Public Policy Institute.
The Defense Secretary and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs offer the latest assessment of military action in Iran. CBS News military analyst Jeff McCausland explains what's happening in the region.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Cloudy skies today with rain at times and a thunderstorm or two, the high near 60.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. A U.S. update on the war with Iran.
We are punching them while they're down.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth sizing up the 5-day-old conflict this hour. He predicts the U.S. and Israel will control Iran's airspace in 2 days. The Pentagon chief reports an American military first in more than 8 decades.
That it was sunk by a torpedo. Quiet death. The first sinking of an enemy ship by a torpedo since World War II.
That was a sub. An Iranian state agency says more than 1,000 people there have been killed. The BBC's Ankash Deen.
What we are hearing is that, for example, the capital Tehran, which is a very busy city of over 10 million people, is very, very quiet and almost deserted at night. Most shops are closed, or many shops are closed, markets are closed, and there are just few places that you can get essentials, and people are stockpiling at home.
Correspondent Weijia Jiang is in Washington.
Today, the Senate will vote on a war powers resolution to block President Trump from using further military action in Iran. Although it does have bipartisan support, the bill is unlikely to pass in either chamber, so that vote is largely a symbolic one.
The latest CBS News poll finds the war is not popular with Americans. 45% believe it'll make this country less safe. Most people opposed are independents. We've learned the names of 4 of 6 Americans killed in an Iranian strike in Kuwait Sunday. Among them, 20-year-old Sergeant Declan Cody of Iowa, his father, Andrew.
Declan had been sending us updates every 1 to 2 hours, like, hey, everything's still good.
The 4 confirmed dead were based in Des Moines. In Texas, Jasmine Crockett has just conceded the Democratic Senate primary to State Rep James Tallarico.
This is a people-powered movement to take on this broken, corrupt political system. This is truly a campaign of, by, and for the people.
Tallarico will face the winner of a Republican runoff between incumbent Senator John Cornyn and State Attorney General Ken Paxton. Mary Poppins was onto something.
A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
CBS's Michael George explains.
A Cochrane review found that when newborns have to undergo painful blood draws, having just a few drops of a sweet sugar solution beforehand can help reduce the pain. The study's authors say this may be a safe, low-cost solution for parents looking to provide pain relief for their infants.
Dow futures up 135. This is CBS News.
I want to know what's going on in the world. I'm Tony. There are big questions that all of us are asking. I want to get you the answers. How are you? I'm Tony DeCopel. Join me on the CBS
At 8:03, we have cloudy skies, 49 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Wednesday, March 4th. I'm Megan Lynch. Esmic Pasick, a 33-year-old man from St. Louis, has been arrested and charged with enticing a minor and sexual abuse against a 7-year-old in the Kirkwood Walmart Sunday. St. Louis County prosecuting attorney Melissa Price-Smith details the allegations caught on security cameras.
He approached a 7-year-old child while stroking his genitals under his clothing. He then rubbed his covered genitals on the 7-year-old's shoulder and asked her if she wanted to touch it.
Price-Smith says the man is also seen doing the same to 3 other children in the Walmart that day. No other victims have come forward. She is asking parents who shopped at the Kirkwood Walmart with their children Sunday to speak with them.
Talk to your children about the shopping experience and if there was anything unusual that happened.
Pasick is being held on a $250,000 bond. The major case squad of Greater St. Louis has been activated in Carlisle, Illinois, following the discovery of a woman's body. Carlisle police responded to a welfare check yesterday morning at the home on Fairfax Street around 8:10 a.m. and found a 41-year-old woman dead inside. 26 investigators working the case. Anyone with information asked to call the major case squad command post at 618-594-2451 or Crime Stoppers at 1-866-371-TIPS. A suspected gas leak led to a home explosion in Jefferson County. Spire says a contractor doing excavating work for another utility hit a natural gas line. Spire contacted the fire department, which evacuated the area. Michelle Reeker lives nearby in Imperial and tells our partners at Fox 2.
Well, I was sitting in my chair and I heard a big loud boom. And I thought something had ran into maybe mailboxes or house or something. I went outside and all I saw was a bunch of puffs of big white smoke. Went across the street and the house was on fire.
5 people who lived in the home that exploded had gotten notice to evacuate and were not inside at that time. The state fire marshal conducting the investigation. Well, it's still storming in Clayton.
An update on the budget crisis comes from St. Louis County Executive Sam Page. He's warning residents that the county is headed toward a financial breaking point. He's borrowing terms from the weather report to make his point.
St. Louis County is under a budget thunderstorm watch. The budget forecast calls for a budget that will collapse by the end of the year if we don't have significant service reductions. And when we get there, and it's coming soon, then we will have a budget thunderstorm warning.
County Councilman Mark Harder fires back, quote, like most weathermen, Sam Page is lucky to get 50% of his forecasts right and still keep his job, end quote. Dr. Page says the county has enough in reserve funds to cover operations for another year or two. He's asking the council to reappropriate $8.6 million for 8 projects, including street improvements in unincorporated areas and security upgrades at the county's domestic violence shelter. But County Council Budget Committee Chairwoman Shalonda Webb says the county's budget is fundamentally solid and calls Page's warnings political theater. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The head of St. Louis's state-appointed police board calling for calmer budget talks with City Hall. This comes days after a contentious board meeting exposed a massive gap between what the city wants to spend on the police department and what the board is asking for. Board President Chris Saraceno met with Mayor Kara Spencer yesterday and released a statement saying, quote, "Our goal is not conflict, it's clarity," close quote. At last week's meeting, Spencer cast the lone dissenting vote against the board's proposed police budget of more than $250 million for next year. That's roughly $48 to $72 million more than the city had planned. At the time, Spencer called the proposal a, quote, slap in the face and warned it would force massive layoffs across city departments. From the business desk, another sign of spring, the riverboats at the Gateway Arch are ready to cruise down the Mississippi. Riverboat season officially kicks off tomorrow with the daily riverfront cruise. Skyline Dinner Cruises return March 20th. Tickets now available for the popular Blues Cruise and Sunday Brunch Cruise. Coming up this morning on Total Information AM, is it possible to restart diplomacy with Iran? John Shaw, director of the Paul Simon Public Policy Institute, will join me next. First, we'll get a check of traffic and weather in 2 minutes. It's 8:08.
The 46th Builder St. Louis Home and Garden Show, presented by James Hardy, is back.
This St. Louis tradition returns to America's Center March 6th through 8th.
Shop hundreds of local companies for home improvement deals.
Find ideas, inspiration, and expert advice.
Bring the whole family to watch the adrenaline-pumping off-axis stunt show and the canines in the clouds frisbee dogs.
The Home and Garden Show is back at America's Center March 6th through 8th.
Details at stlhomeshow.com.
Neovitin began with one doctor's mission to help others feel their best. After years of caring for patients, Dr. Ken Ribicki, a St. Louis physician, created Neovitin, a line of multivitamins designed with quality, safety, and everyday wellness in mind. Each formula is made in the U.S. using the finest domestic and international ingredients to support real people living real lives. Discover the difference today with Neovitin, available at Schnucks, Dierbergs, and neovitin.com. Neovitin, trusted nutrition from St. Louis for St. Louis.
Larry Older here. Let me share Brian's story from Alabama, my mom's home state. He tells us after taking Relief Factor for just 3 weeks, at least 90% of my pain is gone. My pain has started to limit me at work and at home, and now I'm amazed at how much relief I've gotten, end of quote. These are Brian's own words, and they speak volumes about what Relief Factor can do for you. I've told you about my buddy Tom, an avid golfer out on the green almost every single day. He says without Relief Factor, he wouldn't be able to swing freely because of shoulder pain or back pain. But since taking it, he said he stayed active, comfortable, and confident in his swing. He is a scratch golfer. That's why I encourage you to try Relief Factor yourself and see what it can do for you. Don't wait. If you're dealing with daily pain, launch your 3-week quick start and see what Relief Factor can do for you. 800-4RELIEF, 800-4RELIEF, or go to relieffactor.com. That's relieffactor.com. How will it feel to be out of pain? 800-4RELIEF, relieffactor.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
8:10. Let's see how the morning rush is going. Roger Brand has more from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they cleared the incidents we had on 70, Megan, the stall westbound at the Blanchette in the right lane and the ramp that was partially blocked eastbound 70 to north 170 where we had a spin-out crash from earlier. Those are both gone. Southbound 170, primarily the Parkway to 64 is still slow. Eastbound 64, you've got heavy traffic from Lindbergh to about Big Bend. Westbound 64, Hampton to Big Bend is slow. North 270 still bogged down from Gravois all the way up to Ladue, but South 270 is back on track. North 55 looks great coming into the city. Eastbound 44 through Laclede Station, just a little slowdown. And on the Illinois side, westbound 64 is just heavy. Both sides of 159, west of 50 through 159, really. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Cloudy today with rain at times, even a thunderstorm or two, high 60. There'll be some showers and heavy thunderstorms moving through tonight. Any thunderstorm can produce flooding, downpours, and hail, damaging wind gusts, perhaps a tornado. The low tonight, 51. A shower or thunderstorm early tomorrow, otherwise mostly cloudy and very mild, a high 69. Friday could start with a shower or thunderstorm, otherwise becoming partly sunny, breezy, and warm, the high 81. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Cloudy skies this morning, 49 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. President Trump said yesterday that it was too late for negotiations with Iran, and there are differing accounts of whether it was the U.S. or Israel that determined diplomatic efforts to curb Iran's nuclear program were a bust, and it was time to strike. John Shaw, director of the Paul Simon Public Policy Institute at Southern Illinois University Carbondale, joins me now. He has written extensively on statesmanship and diplomacy, and that's why I called on him. John, good morning.
Good morning, Megan.
When we look at this situation, I'm wondering, if there are unwritten rules in diplomacy that may have been crossed here.
I think so. I think there's been a lot of rules of politics, diplomacy, kind of just human civilization that have been crossed. I mean, it's such a murky situation. On the one hand, President Trump has unleashed this in concert with Israel, this furious attack on the Iran and the Iranian regime. Everyone posits that the Iranian regime is awful, but I mean, it's hard to understand what strictures of international law are being adhered to when we just sort of decide that it's time to take out another regime and bomb the country, kind of relentlessly. So you have the United States moving into very, very dodgy legal areas, very, very rapidly shifting explanations as to what the purpose of the war is, whether it's just to eliminate Iran's nuclear capabilities, to eliminate its ballistic missiles, to have a new regime. So shifting explanations make this very complicated. I think another factor that makes it really complicated is the involvement of Israel, which by all accounts, including the Secretary of State's, has been the lead force in this attack. And Israel sees a very weakened Iranian regime, and I think is in no hurry to end the kind of dismantling of it. And then finally, you have an Iranian leadership that has been decapitated. It's unclear who's in charge right now. And you could also, from their perspective, see that they might be a little skeptical about negotiations when, they had negotiations going on in June, and the United States just kind of pushed them aside and worked with Israel to bomb. And they also had talks going on in Geneva just in the run-up to these current events. So it's an extraordinarily murky situation. Most of the basic strictures of international politics and diplomacy have been kind of shoved aside, and it's just hard to figure out what happens next.
Will it be possible to return to the table? In some ways, does this force Iran to return to the table?
Well, at a certain point, yes. I think from what has been reported, there's some elements of the Iranian intelligence apparatus that have reached out to the CIA to see if some sort of talks could unfold. So, at some point there will be talks, although it's unclear what really the terms would be. In that, the United States, when its goal is to just eliminate the regime without even clearly having in place, a regime that would be acceptable to it. So for you can understand Iran's perspective. They don't even quite know what they're negotiating for or on, other than to have, the bombing stop. So. At some point talks will occur and they'll try to have some sort of settlement. And I guess, I think the settlement is largely going to be something like, the attacks cease and the Iranians make pledges, on the nuclear, ballistic missile, and a couple other fronts. But, others have alleged that they've made those promises before and they have not made good on it. So I'm not sure what a pledge from a reeling, embattled, collapsing regime would do for the United States and Israel.
Another question I have, John, is, and I'm thinking of how people deal with each other in any society. And the president, often people say he has an aggressive approach, kind of a business-like approach. He likes to make deals. In some ways, though, does that resonate with other leaders or cultures? Maybe instead of being a turnoff, they speak that same language.
Certainly for certain, political systems, the kind of transactional deal making, resonates clearly, makes complete sense, etc. The only problem is, for much of its history, the United States has purported to be much, much different than that. And certainly in the 80 years since World War II, our vision of the world has been completely different. It's not just, make the best deal. It's that we stand for some values. And that we stand for a kind of a structure in which, might does not make right, and decency and respect prevails. So, particularly for our European allies, they see this and I think they're stunned and shocked, and they just don't recognize the United States. And everyone has always understood we had the power to do this. But part of ours, I think that the great respect the United States has had for so many decades is that it has chosen not to exercise this strength. It's chosen to operate, with other nations in a respectful way. And so, the basic ethos of the United States seems like it's being turned on its head, and no one really quite knows how to react to it.
Based on what's happened in the last 5 days, will other countries think twice about negotiating with U.S.?
I think so. I think they probably will. At least they will play the game. I think they believe that you have to placate, the Trump administration and at least engage in some discussions. But I think they would have to be very, very suspicious about anything they agree to. Any concessions they make will, be followed by the United States, making good on its promises. So I think it's caused maybe a kind of a grim respect for the United States, but also a deep wariness of how to deal with the country that for so long, has been considered a trusted and honorable, dominant force on the global stage.
What's your assessment of Steve Witkoff, the special envoy to the Middle East, and his ability as a diplomat?
Well, I think he's, from what I can tell, he's a shrewd real estate lawyer, which is not the same as a diplomat or a real estate businessman. I don't know if he's a lawyer, but he's, he negotiates real estate deals, and that's not how diplomacy works. And it just feels like, he's playing a game that's just very, very different than what has traditionally been, the code for how diplomacy works. Again, when the United States is the strongest country, other countries feel like they have to kind of play along. But I think a lot of people, professional diplomats, do not think that, Witkoff is anywhere near as smart as he believes or the president believes. And, he's not seeing around corners and he's not making connections. And it's a fairly crude transactional approach to negotiating that reflects the Trump administration, but usually does not lead to sustainable agreements.
And John, just to give a little plug, your latest book, The Education of a Statesman, How Global Leaders Can Repair a Fractured World. I guess that gives us a glimpse at maybe one of the leading statesmen in the world.
Yeah, and he, interestingly, his name is Jan Eliasson from Sweden, and he spent a good chunk of his career working with Iran and Iranian officials. In fact, I'm going to send him an email today to kind of check in and see how he's doing. But he's a strong believer that diplomacy is the only way to make very different countries come together and solve problems. So I'm sure he's heartbroken at all that's been unfolding these last couple of weeks.
John, thank you so much. Appreciate your insight.
Thank you, Megan.
That is John Shaw, director of the Paul Simon Public Policy Institute at Southern Illinois University, Carbondale. Coming up next on the show, we are going to talk with military analyst for CBS, former Army Colonel Jeff McCausland. He looks at day 5 of the conflict in Iran and the statements coming out of the Pentagon this morning. Let's get the latest on the roads for you now with Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's not looking bad out there, Megan. It continues to improve. This traffic reports service at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Northbound 270, though, is still bogged down from 44 all the way up to Ladue. If you're on eastbound 64, you've still got slow traffic just east of Lindbergh all the way into Big Bend. South 170 delays at the Parkway. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley, typically slow. Eastbound 70 looks great from Wentzville. Westbound 70 downtown between the Mutual Veterans and McKinley Bridges is a little slow. Northbound 55, a little backup coming up from A midway up to McNutt, and southbound 55 south of Z down toward McNutt looks like the roadwork delays. You have the roadwork slow down both sides of 159 on westbound 64 as well. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is your premier provider of fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today. Now offering 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thank you, Roger. It looks like the forecast is going to be pretty much the same today as it was yesterday. Cloudy, occasional rain, a thunderstorm or two. We're expecting a high of 60. Right now, cloudy skies, 49 downtown at the Arch.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers?
eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
I built this business the old-fashioned way. Hard work and a whole lot of spreadsheets.
Yeah, about that, I upgraded us to Odoo. Odoo puts everything we need, sales, inventory, accounting, on one connected platform. No more juggling systems, no more headaches.
So it all works together?
Exactly.
Odoo is the all-in-one business software that makes running and passing on a business easier than ever. Take your business into the next generation. Try Odoo free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Start the new year off on a healthier note by taking active liver supplements from New Nordic every day. Available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com or at your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, or Wegmans.
You're back with Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. It's day 5 of the U.S.-Israeli assault on Iran. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff General Dan Kane held a briefing this morning. Let's talk now to CBS News military analyst, retired Colonel Jeff McCausland. Good morning. General Kane talked about targeting ballistic missile stores, making sure Iran is not able to retool. How successful do those efforts appear to be at this point?
Well, so far, Megan, they seem to be very successful. He also talked, by the way, about destroying the Iranian Navy. And my goodness, we just sank an Iranian ship off the coast of Sri Lanka as this war has escalated horizontally. The Iranians' ability to launch missiles has degraded over the last several days, though we have to emphasize we're only in day 4 of this particular conflict. They launched about 300 on the first day. They launched about 50 yesterday. Now, the question is that because of their degraded capacity as we take out missiles and launchers, or are they husbanding missiles because they want to extend this conflict longer and longer? And the answer to that question is a bit of both. We also have hit some of their capacity to rebuild those particular missiles in production facilities, as well as those efforts to acquire nuclear-enriched material. And at the same time, of course, we've seen a number of their drones. So in terms of those military efforts, it does appear we're degrading it, but it does seem like the Iranian strategy is to extend this conflict in terms of the horizontal breadth of the conflict and the pain they inflict on the world economically and elsewhere.
With what you've said, Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard has said that it is prepared for complete destruction of the region's military and economic infrastructure. Do they still have the means to act on that threat?
Well, certainly to a degree they do. There's no doubt about it. They have pretty much, by their action, closed down the Straits of Hormuz. We know about 20% of the world's energy passes through that narrow waterway. We've seen that reverberate across economies around the world. Our own stock market, I think, dropped about 1,000 points. We've seen the price of oil go up to over $80 a barrel. The Korean stock market, just to use one international example, dropped 12% yesterday, the greatest drop in the history of that particular economic engine. So they are having that particular effect, no doubt about it. They're also starting to hit targets around the region and trying to inflict pain on those targets in the region. My concern, frankly, growing more and more, is the 20,000 Americans that are still in the region and are civilians, and from an Iranian perspective, could be construed as soft targets. And also the possibility that the Iranians might shift their strategy, not only to using missiles and drones, but now using more terrorist attacks against people in the region, or perhaps cyber attacks.
When we look at the role of both parties in this joint offensive, what's the U.S. role, what's Israel's role, and what's the coordination between the U.S. and the IDF?
Let me take the last question first. The chairman talked very carefully about, and I've seen this in combat before, setting up joint coordination cells between you and an ally. The United States and Israel has operated together for many, many years, most notably last year when the Iranians were striking Israel itself, to make sure you've got liaison officers at both headquarters and all the command and control nodes to make sure you deconflict targets, you deconflict airspace, you don't get in each other's way, you don't have friendly fire incidents. And so far, that's going very well. Now, we've got to expand that operation because we saw a disastrous thing occur a few days ago, and that was Kuwaiti Air Defense, them being struck and brought into the fight, shooting down 3 U.S. aircraft as they thought they were incoming missiles. As far as what both sides are focusing on, it seems largely geographically, and the chairman talked about today, Israelis are focusing their targeting on western Iraq, western Iran, I should say, I'm sorry, and the United States on southern Iran, where we've got the USS Abraham Lincoln. That helps in that deconfliction because we're doing different geography. Targeting, the United States going after drones, missiles, production capacity, and some of their residual nuclear facilities. The Israelis doing similar things, but also going after the leadership. It clearly was the Israelis who struck the home of the Ayatollah Khamenei and other leaders, killing them at the very onset of the conflict.
That's CBS News military analyst, retired Colonel Jeff McCausland. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
My pleasure.
It is now 8:27, and this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Hey, Cardinal Cowboy here. Who would have thought a car crash would have led to charities, TV shows, and cheering with the best fans in the world? I'm thankful for every day. And so are my friends at Renner Garage Door. They've been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. With help from trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, honest family-style service you can count on. So giddy up and get your free repair or replacement quote today. Giddy up!
R-E-N-N-E-R, R-E-N-N-E-R.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/Mike.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
8:30 still ahead on Total Information AM. Housing permits show a bleak census picture for the St. Louis region. We'll learn more from Sean Malone. First, let's get the latest on the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, things are getting better, Megan. We still have some slow traffic, though, north 270, but now it's north of Big Bend up to Ladue, so that's better. Eastbound 64 also better. It's just west of McKnight to Big Bend, south 170, Boggs 9 at Brentwood. Westbound 64 from Hampton to Hanley, still about the same. Eastbound 270 near New Halls Ferry. Report of a stall in the right lane. I'm not seeing any delays there. We had little roadwork backups both ways. Heavy traffic north 55A midway to McNutt and southbound 55Z down towards McNutt. So be prepared for those delays. And we still have slow going both sides of 159 on westbound 64 due to roadwork as well. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, it looks like we're going to have cloudy skies today, occasional rain, a thunderstorm or two, and a high of 60. Right now, cloudy skies, 49 degrees. Newly released census data shows St. Louis falling behind on a key component to affordability and attracting people to the region, and that's housing permits.
Is there any single factor more important than that?
That's an important factor because it is what the census uses as a proxy for population growth. If you're building housing, you're growing.
The St. Louis region fell to 58th in the nation last year in issuing new housing permits, according to the U.S. Census. Their standing represents a steep decline from the 6 years prior, where St. Louis ranked as high as 40th and no lower than 46th. St. Louis University professor of sociology Ness Sandoval says the American dream of home ownership is easier in cities that are more aggressive in building homes.
Look at Kansas City, look at Indianapolis, Cincinnati. They're all outperforming St. Louis, and they're smaller than St. Louis in population size and in GDP.
Sandoval says there has been a long resistance to new housing developments across the region, not specific to any one area.
We see NIMBY in St. Charles, of people coming out and saying, we do not want this housing development. We see it in West County. We see it in Webster Groves. We see it in Jefferson County.
Even densely populated areas like St. Louis City can do more to develop new housing, he says.
How is it that you have a region like New York that's filled up? You can look at New York and say it's filled up, and it's outperforming St. Louis on almost every measure when it comes to housing. Philadelphia or any of these cities you look at, and you're like, where are they building? They're finding a way to build it. And there is land here. And people will say, well, there is land here.
Sandoval says there are more people dying in the region than babies being born, meaning in order to reverse the long-running trend of population decline, new young families must move in.
You have young families that have dual incomes that are having a very difficult time getting into the housing market today. And it's because those homes are $500,000, $600,000 entry points now.
Sandoval says local leaders need to become more aggressive in addressing the issue.
When there's resistance to new housing developments, leaders tend to say, we're going to stop this development or we're going to pause it, rather than trying to educate those who are saying, stop it, saying, this is why we need the development.
However, even if they do, it will take time to see the end results.
When you go out and look at development, it never happens overnight. And the challenge with the city and even is we have a different process in most of our municipalities of how to develop. And that's part of the challenge for our region is like if you're developing in Manchester versus Chesterfield, it's a different process.
The next round of census population data comes out later this month. Sandoval offers this.
Nobody should be upset if you're saying, if you're at these meetings saying stop housing, then you should not then turn around and be upset at the numbers that come out on March 26th.
Sean Malone, KMOX News.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Febreze. New Febreze Air Mist has 50% more odor fighters and up to 30% more fragrance than the old formula. So now you can take on 100% more stinky odors, like sweaty gym bags, greasy cooking smells, and the after effects of the dog rolling around in something. Just spray, and new Febreze Air instantly restores just clean freshness. Smell you later, odor.
Bring happy Febreze, la 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 la.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Tax season is here, and Missouri families are already seeing the real impact of the Working Families Tax Cut Act. House Republicans are delivering real results for hardworking Missourians. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, the bill is projected to raise wages in Missouri by about $3,000 to $6,000 over the next 4 years. That's more money for groceries, gas, and greater security for your family's future. In Congress, I'm working to protect working families, strengthen our economy, and ensure you are keeping more of your hard-earned money.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Time now for your Money Report. It's sponsored by Eamon Gattner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
Wall Street traders are cautious with all eyes on the Middle East. The New York Times is reporting that Iran operatives had earlier made an offer to discuss terms for ending the war. Stock futures have been flipping between gains and losses this morning. Meantime, soaring power prices is prompting a White House meeting with technology executives today. President Trump wants the companies to sign pledges committing to foot the power bill for energy-hungry data centers, which are blamed for driving up electricity costs. Companies expected to attend the meeting include Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, and Google parent Alphabet. And American homeowners are staying put. The typical homeowner has stayed in their house for 12 years, nearly double what it was 2 decades ago, according to real estate brokerage Redfin. Keeping owners in place are the high costs associated with borrowing and moving. Americans are also staying in their jobs for longer and moving for new opportunities less often. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here for FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of KMOX. It's college basketball season. It's been phenomenal. And look, college basketball is just nonstop, big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every night. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. So here's how it works. Build any college hoops parlay that you like. The early tip, the rivalry game, the ranked matchup, the late night West Coast shootout, whatever it is. You can mix spreads, totals, props, whatever fits your read on that slate. And then just apply your profit boost and instantly bump that potential payout. So go safe. You can do that. You can go spicy, get hot, get in there. Go with the team that you've been following all year. Pick a new one. Doesn't matter. Just go to FanDuel.com/Missouri to get yourself started. FanDuel, play your game. Remember, you must be 21 or older and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Minimum 2-leg parlay required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable boost builder tokens. Restrictions do apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
So if divorce is a part of your life, I'm very sorry. Been there and used to be a divorce attorney, and said it before, I hate things like divorce parties and XYZ the same way I hate when people do stupid poses with guns, because it's a serious thing. It's a sad thing. It could be the best thing. It could be the right thing, but it's still something I think that should be treated with great respect. Call Susan Ward. And the second best advice I can give you is to call another good divorce attorney. Talk to your buddies, talk to your priest, talk to your pastor, meditate, pray, do anything you want to do. But make sure before you make any big decisions, you talk to Susan Ward so that she can give you real answers. She's been doing this for decades. If you write down your top 5-10 questions, about money and custody and all this kinds of stuff, she'll give you real answers. She's not a wizard. She doesn't have a crystal ball. It'll be a little vague, but it will be very specific and quite accurate. 314-783-9400, stlfamilylaw.com.
You can feel the Clydesdales circling the field. Hear the stands come alive. Smell the hot dogs, the popcorn, and cold beer in the air. See the crowd rise as the first pitch hits the glove. And just like that, a new season begins. The countdown is on until opening day, and tickets start at just $49. Don't miss St. Louis's favorite holiday. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/opening day.
Cardinals single game tickets are now on sale for the 2026 season. The schedule delivers big time matchups, including weekend series against the Cubs and Dodgers and visits from the Boston Red Sox. Add in a promotions calendar stacked with fan favorites like all new giveaways, a Hawaiian short and shirt set, golf-inspired hat, dark mode jersey, and a whole lot more. It's Busch Stadium at its best all season long. Lock in your seats today at Cardinals.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com. For all station contest rules, go to KMOX.com/rules.
This is 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. The president of St. Louis's state-controlled police board says he does want to work collaboratively with Mayor Kara Spencer to resolve a growing budget standoff. Spencer has pushed back, saying the proposed police budget would cripple city government. Missouri State Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick launching a performance audit of the Regional Arts Commission of St. Louis following complaints of excessive staffing expenses and unconstitutional bonuses. And AAA says the average price of gas across the nation jumped nearly 10 cents overnight. It's up more than 20 cents from a week ago. See how much gas you're burning out there on the roads. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
That's not too bad, Megan. It's a little busy northbound 141 approaching Manchester up through Highlands Boulevard. We had an incident near Burgundy. It looks like it's been cleared, so it's getting better. North 270, Doherty Ferry, most of the way up to Ladue, still kind of off the pace. Eastbound 64 McKnight through Hanley's a little heavy. Westbound 64, a slowdown at the city limits. Still have a little bit of a slowdown. Southbound 55 past Highway Z and northbound 55, a brief backup at A. And, of course, still that roadwork slowdown briefly on westbound 64 through 159. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And checking that forecast for today, we may see some rain, a thunderstorm possible, much like yesterday. Cloudy skies otherwise, a high of 60. Tonight, we could see more heavy thunderstorms, and some of those could produce some flooding downpours, even some damaging wind gusts. Expect an overnight low of 51, and then a stray morning thunderstorm tomorrow. Otherwise, mostly cloudy, balmy, a high of 69. 49 now with cloudy skies downtown at the Arch.
You're
You're listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. A disproportionate number of Black women and girls go missing in the United States. Studies have found that their stories often receive less coverage in the media, and their cases take longer to solve than other demographic groups. Last year, a new Missouri law established the Missing and Murdered African American Women and Girls Task Force. Joining me to provide an update on what's been happening with that task force is Missouri Representative Chanel Mosley of St. Louis County. Thank you so much, Representative, for taking time to talk this morning.
Oh, no problem.
Talk about the magnitude of this issue for African American families and communities, especially in our region.
Okay, so this is an overlooked issue. The African American girls and women in Missouri are disproportionately impacted by the violence and the disappearance. Yet the cases receive less media attention and fewer investigation resources.
What does that do to communities and families?
It just keeps them wondering. They feel like they don't have any answers. They feel like they have to do the work themselves. It just makes them feel like they don't have the help they need when this incident happened.
Do you feel like there are differences in investigations?
Definitely, there's a difference. The other races, they will, go right away looking for them. They'll actually find them. There's data that's already out there where most African American women and girls are not found, and maybe 1% or 2% of other races are found.
How will the task force be structured? I know some of the work has already begun, but who's a part of it, and what kind of work will they be doing?
Okay, so the work is structured by reviewing data, analyzing past cases, allowing families to testify and tell their story, collaborating with law enforcement and community advocates. We will be producing measurable recommendations and final reports with clear action steps. The people who are included are legislators, community leaders, law enforcement, people who are policy holders, and the families who have been through this before.
Will the public be able to attend any of the hearings that the task force holds?
We have not did a public hearing yet. We're really just doing the basis for this task force, and we just came up with committees for the task force. So we're dispersing everyone in their own committees who will be best fit. And then they're going to do, their data research. And we've been just really listening to different families and testimonies on this incident for right now. Soon there will be a website up for the public to come to be able to see updates.
Ultimately, how do you hope the work of the task force will be used by the state?
So it will be used for future incidents. Basically, we will collect more data to be able to work along with law enforcement. We'll come up with different policies to put in place with law enforcement as well. Like one of the ideas we had was the Amber Alert for missing persons in Missouri, which we don't have right now. So we're just kind of, navigating through it and figure out what's the best way that will actually make a change for in the future.
What about accountability for officials when, some of these final recommendations might be put into place? How would you like to see that handled?
I would definitely like for law enforcement to take some accountability because obviously there's an issue and there's a gap between these families and law enforcement. I think a lot of the times they just kind of look at it like, oh, it happens all the time, or it could have just been a runaway. And I think it'll help them take this more serious, the fact that we're bringing it to their attention.
What about just awareness for the community? Because, I think we all see, for example, our social media feeds where people share missing persons. I don't think sometimes maybe we think about the racial makeup of the things that we are forwarding along. Are you hoping that this will just make people more aware of the issue?
Oh, definitely, yes. We definitely want to make it more public so people can actually understand that it is an issue, how to help the issue, even just people in the areas that it's happening in. We want them to be more aware of what's going on, how it happens, the why, the hows, the what's, the who's. So we want them to know it as much as possible so they can either prevent it or know what to do in the case of the incident.
Representative, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
No problem. Thank you.
That's State Representative Chanel Mosley joining us this morning here on KMOX. Coming up next, don't call them seniors, call them legends. Older St. Louisans ready to show they still have game. Debbie Monterrey will tell us about it coming up.
I'm Tom Ackerman. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
When people take home tours, often it's the kitchen people ooh and ah about. But the other space that people are really impressed by? The outdoor area. Like when somebody has an incredible deck or the sunroom or screen room that leads out onto a deck and down the stairs onto a beautiful patio covered with a pergola with those louvered slats that chase the sun or chase it away, and maybe even a built-in, pizza oven or fireplace. Well, if that all sounds incredible to you, call Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the sign you have the very best, and they do quality work. That's how they've stayed around for 58 years as a locally owned, fourth-generation family-owned company. They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and thousands of satisfied customers like me. Whether you're just looking for a gate or a fence or an absolutely everything that I mentioned above, Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the place to call. And when you mention me, Debbie Monterrey, they'll offer you 48 months interest-free financing. Find them now at chesterfieldfence.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Every spring brings promises, and every spring delivers surprises. This year, the Cardinals are writing a new story, and there'll be plenty of surprises. Matt Pauley is in Jupiter with inside access to Camp Cardinals.
Presented by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens and making memories. And Happy Roof. We always create happy endings.
From breakout performances to roster revelations, get reports throughout the day on the voice of the Cardinals. KMOX.
This is Total Information AM here on KMOX, and here's Debbie Monterrey.
Things have changed a lot. I'd say like 80 is the new 60 or something, right? So you're feeling like $1 million and you want to get out there. Stephanie Ray is joining us, and she is with the St. Louis Legends Games, formerly known as St. Louis Senior Olympics. Thanks for joining us.
Such a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Well, first of all, the St. Louis Senior Olympics, I totally understand why you felt it needed a rebrand, but can you explain why it's now the St. Louis Legends Games?
Absolutely. The elevator speech is that not everybody feels like a senior, but everybody feels like a legend, right? Even if it's only in our own mind, right? So the Gen X and people who aren't retired yet, and even people who traditionally are of an age that senior would apply to them, is just not applying to them, and they're not associating with it anymore. So we really wanted to have a new name, a new brand, but we love the rich tradition of the Senior Olympics. So this is kind of the next generation of the St. Louis Senior Olympics, the Legends Games.
Yeah, the Legends Games are open to adults age 50 and older, and there are a lot of people in their 50s, 60s, 70s who have really been keeping themselves in shape and would like an opportunity to participate or compete. So what do these games consist of?
Oh, well, I like to think of these as payback games. We as parents and grandparents have been going to games, football games, softball games, whatever it is, for years and years and years. And now it's a chance for us to play and our grandkids and our kids to come play. But we have something for everybody at the Legends Games. We do everything from a softball tournament, ice hockey skills, football throws and punts, to a poker tournament and a pinball tournament, bridge, mahjong. I mean, we really have it all. We have a full track and field schedule, everything but hurdles. We have a full swimming schedule, and you can do one thing, or you can sign up for, I think the top last year was 34 events. So however many you can fit into your schedule, just, come out and try, or come out and be the best. Whatever you're looking for, we have it.
The Legends Games are in May, so this gives people plenty of opportunity to sort of, get that fitness regimen going, because registration is open officially as of March 2nd. Where do these games take place?
So the hub is the Jewish Community Center in Creve Coeur, but we really try to put the St. Louis into the St. Louis Senior Olympics or the St. Louis Legends Games. So our bocce tournament is at the Bocce Club in Dogtown, and our pickleball tournament is at the Padel and Pickle in Olivet, and we have things in Chesterfield, really just all over St. Louis.
The St. Louis Legends Games are produced by the J, but they are open to anyone 50 and older, correct?
Absolutely. And anybody under 50 can come volunteer.
Oh, perfect. That's the kids volunteer and the parents and grandparents play. That sounds perfect.
Right. It actually does happen quite often, and it's really neat to see. And the very, very little kids, I provide them with little posters and markers, and they write signs that say, "Go Grandpa," or "Go, whoever." It's so cute.
The opening ceremonies are, is this right, Monday, May 18th?
Yeah, from 5 to 8 at the hub in across the street from Chesterfield Valley.
Okay, so again, you've got plenty of time to get yourself ready for the games, but registration is open as of March 2nd. Can you give me an idea of what registration fees look like for people who might be thinking of getting involved?
I can. So the general fee is $65, but if you register before April 20th, you can get it $10 off. So $55 gets you access to almost every game, every event that we have. There are a couple of extra fees for golf, bowling, the softball tournament. But then you can also sign up if you just want to participate in the car show or in the art competition. You just want to do one event. There's a $28 fee, so a discounted fee for that. Or a team event is $46, again, with that $10 discount before April 20th for some of our team events.
This is the first year that it is the St. Louis Legends Game, but how long has this been going on?
We invented this style of tournament. This will be our 46th year.
Wow, 46 years. How many participants do you know offhand did you have last year?
Last year we had over 700. And while I was really happy with that number, I'm hoping for more this year.
It is the St. Louis Legends game, and you can get all the details at jccstl.com/legendsgames, jccstl.com/legendsgame. So I hope you have great participation and beat that number this year with the St. Louis Legends game. Stephanie Ray is our guest telling us more about this, and thanks so much.
Oh, such a pleasure, Debbie. Thanks for having me.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by Lynch.